So yeah, welcome to the Next Gen Racing YouTube channel, proudly sponsored now by Star Sports Bet. This is our official Cheltenham Festival preview evening 2022. We're very excited to be in front of a live crowd this evening. As you can see on your chairs, we've been given plenty of stuff to give to you guys. So you'll see a free copy of the March edition of the Racing Head magazine. We've got an article in there, do check that one out. We've also got a lovely festival planner courtesy of Hacked Up Horse Racing Gifts. You'll see that as well. Plenty of time to make some notes as well off some of the panel. And then we also have a preview from the Star Sports ambassador, Davey Russell, in there. You can get his thoughts on the races as well. Star Sports have also given a small card there telling you how if you sign up, you'll get £20 if you bet £20 with them. Hopefully tonight we'll find you a couple of winners you can use that £20 on. Let's start off by introducing the panel. As always, I'm stuck with my right-hand man, Jack Dorling. Jack's a journalist. He does a lot of work. He's currently studying. He's currently studying at university, and he's looking to potentially break into the racing world. I'm sure he will do with the amount of winners he seems to put up on our channel. We also have jockey and horse racing pundit Mattie Batchelor on the far end there. Hopefully he'll find plenty of winners. I'm sure he's got plenty of stories from the weighing room for us. And we have apprentice jockey next to Jack for the Gary Moore stable, Niall Houlihan. Hopefully he can give us a bit of an Irish angle as well with his Irish accent.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get to hear you.
Does he come with subtitles?
Sorry?
Does he come with subtitles?
We'll sort that out, yeah, we'll make sure. Jack, it's our first ever preview in front of a live audience, which is exciting, but we're also going to have full crowds back at Prestbury Park for the Cheltenham Festival. I mean, it's going to be so good, isn't it?
Oh, I just can't wait. I mean, we've only got a few days left, but I mean, it's going to feel like an absolute eternity. But hopefully we can have a nice little evening and hopefully pick a few winners, eh?
Yeah, let's hope so. Mattie, you're an experienced jockey. That's probably a fair way of putting it.
You're going to say I'm old.
Well, it was the polite way. But you know a lot of the lads in the way, and what's it going to be like on that opening day, especially knowing that full crowds are going to be back?
Yeah, it's a great buzz. It's the best place to be in the world, especially in the weighing room. But you know what? I've been there for the last, few years. I've earned more there working than I did riding. So
Perfect. And Niall, you've ridden for your boss, Editor Dajit, twice this season there, winning aboard him. What's it like at Cheltenham? What is it that makes Cheltenham a true test of a horse?
It's a very undulating track. It tests stamina, stiff finish, tests speed, getting a good posse, it tests their balance because it's quite undulating. Their jumping comes into question to come up quick around there, as Mattie knows as well. And look, it's just a total test of a top-class athlete. They have to tick all the boxes. They can't really get away with anything. If they're too keen, you don't get home. If you're too late back, you don't get there. So, thankfully, Editor Geet was just an absolute boss he was, and I just sat there and had to look pretty, really.
Yeah, well, hopefully Niall will have a decent couple of rides at the festival. Looking forward, and hopefully has a decent winner. He was actually meant to ride at Doncaster today in the 2 o'clock. He was probably lucky enough to have a non-runner there because he probably wouldn't have made it in time from Doncaster. So, yeah, let's see what he can come up with
the
tonight.
way he drove down here, I think we would have done.
Right, we'll start off with the opening race of the festival. This is the Supreme Novices Hurdle. Constitution Hill is your 2-1 favourite, along with Sir Gerhard. Dysart Dynamo 5-2, John Bond 4-1, Kilcrut is 6-1, Mighty Potter 10s, and Pied Piper is 12-1. We've got 14-1 bar these. Now, what a start this is to the festival. I'll tell you what, we have 2 of Willie Mullins' big guns running here, along with 2 of Nicky Henderson's weapons. They're all sitting at the top of the market. We know that John Bond and Constitution Hill are definitely going to go here. We just don't know what's going to happen with these Mullins horses at the moment. Mattie, do you think the British are going to kick things off with a winner here?
I think we will, yeah. I think the Irish are going to dominate again, looking at some of what they're bringing over. But Constitution Hill, what he's done at Sandown is impressive. Like, Sandown's not an easy place. Again, you need a lot of stamina, and that time of year, you're always running on softish ground. So, and he's got a bit of speed, and he stays. And when you go to Cheltenham, that's a lot of people don't realise you can have all the speed in the world, but you need a bit of stamina as well, because all these top class races, they go so quick. You need to have something in reserve, and you need to have stamina. And he seems to have that in abundance. And I think he will kick off the start with an English win. I just think he looks the real deal, and he's going to make a hell of a chaser.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, do you think the heavy ground, the fact that he's been winning on heavy ground, do you think that could be a serious worry? I mean, the thing that I've got down here reminds me a lot of the fact that we had Fiddler on the Roof winning the Tolworth a few years back on heavy ground, and it all seemed to go wrong in the Supreme. Would you be concerned about the ground with Constitution Hill?
Do you know what? I'm not concerned because it's the same everywhere, every year. You go through November, December, January, all these horses are running on it. They go to Cheltenham and still produce it. And I'm a great believer that good horses will go on anything. And heavy ground, when you go on heavy ground, some of it's really wet and soft. So good ground horses will get away with it. Unless it's really gluey and horrible, then a horse like him will struggle. So no, I don't think it. I think a good horse go through it, and I think he'll go through anything.
Okay, Jack, you can probably talk us through more of the flip-flops on the old exchanges for this, where Sir Gerhard and Dysart Dynamo are actually going to go. Do we think Sir Gerhard is definitely going to go here? Because he seems like a horse I really fancy, and I think he'll win it if going here.
I mean, when it comes to Willie Mullins, I don't think there's any definite about where anything's going to go. But I think it's a little bit of square pegs with both of them. I think they've been so impressive over 2 miles. I don't really know why you want to step either of them up, if I'm being honest. I think Dysart Dynamo, the way he won that Moscow Flyer, he made Gringo de Broy look like a handicapper, and even adamantly chosen. I mean, he wasn't disgraced in the Challow Gringo de Brow. I think he's got so much ability. The only thing I'm worried about is Cheltenham going to come a bit too quick for him? He just looks so novice over his fences. I know he hasn't literally come off the bridle yet, and he's won over 2 mile 2 in a bumper. But for me, it seems like an interesting race in the fact that Constitution Hill was pleased from like a time point of view. I know people don't really like to look at times too much, but Constitution Hill, his debut, he was electric. Those final sectionals were absolutely electric. Jambon, I really can't have, if I'm being honest. I think he's a lot more style than substance at the moment. He's just gone a little bit too slow early doors in his races. He's shown a very good pace to actually put it to bed. But I mean, he was 5 seconds slower than Tommy's Oscar at Haydock last time out. I know at Ascot, they literally went an absolute crawl, but he was 16 seconds slower than the bumper that day as well. And I mean, it's tough to rule any of them out at the front of the market. But if they go a breakneck speed early doors, Kilcrook could lead from the front. So could Sir Gerhard if he goes there, and even Dysart Dynamo. I just think it could perhaps play to a late finish or a Constitution Hill. I think that will definitely suit. Jambon, again, as I say, I'm not too fond of. And I think if Sir Gerhard does go here, I think he's definitely the one to beat. I can't see him going off any shorter than 2-1, mind you. I think he'll probably be 6-4, 7-4. But I think even if you look at outside the front four in the market, I mean, Dysart Dynamo and So Gerhard are both rated 150. And on ratings, it's not actually that quality. I mean, Appreciate It won it off 153, Shishkin 153, Classical Dream 154, and Somerville Boy 150. And from that, El Fabiolo is one that I keep going back to. He was very, very impressive on his sole start over hurdles on New Year's Day, which Sam Roy also won last year. Mr. Coldstone won it. Hasn't really gone on to many things. But I think El Fabiolo, a big price, could hopefully run into the places just if the front four are all hype.
There you go. Seems like Jack quite likes Cigar, but a decent each way shout there. Niall, what are the vibes on course, mate? You've been on track a lot recently. You know, what's all the talking horses for this race?
He's gone on about John Bond there now, and I actually personally quite like him, I do. I think none of the races are really ran to suit him, personally, because he's won a point around Drummahan. Quite stiff tracks, but he definitely stays. He's a stayer. And as Mattie has alluded to, it's going to be a very quick race. And I feel it could just set him up to be... I know Aidan Coleman is quite happy with how the horse is. And I know that if he didn't think the horse would have a chance against Constitution Hill, he wouldn't run against him. So I'd be sweeting him out, to be honest myself.
No, I think it's a really fascinating race. I really like Sir Gerhard. I think he will go and win this if going here. I mean, he's put up a time quicker than Honeysuckle did at a Dublin Racing Festival over the same trip. I know Honeysuckle will probably get onto her in a minute, but she didn't look the best that day. But I think Sir Gerhard, his jumping was... disgraced a bit, but I don't think it was as bad as people were saying, and I do think that he's probably going to be the one to beat if turning up here. Let's move on to the second race. This is the Arkle Novices Chase. This is on the Tuesday at 2:10, over 2 miles. Edwardstone 2-1, Blue Lords 3-1, Rivière de Tel 7-2, Auton Couleur. I'm sure you're going to see plenty of French accents from me tonight. 6-1, Saint Sam 7-1, third time lucky 12s, and 14-1 bar those in here. Now, I wouldn't say this is the most vintage Arkle we've ever had, but Niall, do you think the British could kick things off to a 2-0 start here?
Edwardstone, he's been faultless all season, he has. I do like the Irish contingent of Blue Lord and Rivière de Tel. Personally, I think her getting the mayor's allowance is to her benefit against these older lads, young horses, young lads, but... Edwardstone, he has been foot perfect, but what has he been beating? For pleasure, third time lucky. There's can pick holes in it, he can. And that's why I don't think they will, and I think it could go the Irish way of either Blue Lord or Riviere de Tel. And personally, at 72, I'd have Riviere de Tel.
Okay. Yeah, Riviere de Tel was unlucky probably not to win the last day. Mattie, I'm sure Cannon's probably looking forward to this ride a hell of a lot. Lots of people saying he's probably the banker of day one. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, you said it's not a vintage Arkle. Cannon couldn't give two monkeys. He's going to go and win an Arkle Grade 1, and his paycheck is going to be brilliant. But I think I'll give third time lucky in each way chance, because he's chased Edwardstone. He's only been beaten 4.5 lengths, and at 25 to 1 shot, he's not finished that far behind him. I think he could be a good each way value. But Edwardstone, I mean, I was talking to Tommy the other day when I was at the races. I don't go racing much often, but I was chatting away to him, and he just said he's just such a likeable horse. He said he just does everything easy. He jumps, and to ride a 2-miler that settles, and when you push the button goes. I mean, like Warwick's not an easy place to jump round, and the ones down the back there, they come at you quick and fast, and he's just been awesome. And he said, Tommy just said he's so easy. He's just he can't wait to go to Cheltenham with him.
Yeah, he's a horse that's definitely improved a lot since his hurdling days. He seems like a much better chaser. Jack, I said earlier about Riviere de Tel probably being unlucky, hitting the last day and then coming back and didn't quite get to Blue Lord. But do you think that potentially it's not as weak as people are saying? There could potentially be a star in here with something like a Riviere de Tel?
No, if I'm being honest. I think the winner may come from that race, but I don't think it's either Blue Lord or Riviere de Tel. I'm actually a big fan of Saint Sam. Now, I do respect Edwardstone a lot. I think he's very versatile with regards to ground. He travels, he jumps, and I think he does have a great chance for Alan King. But Saint Sam's only had the 2 runs over fences. On his chase debut, I mean, he led from the front and kicked clear in really good style. He put about 6 lengths in between himself and the second-placed horse from the last to the line. And I mean, although he's 5-year-olds don't really have a great record in this. I mean, they still return a profit to a £1 stake, which I always look for. But I mean, he made all in such good style. He tried to do the same last time out when in behind Riviere de Tel and Blue Lord. He went at too fast a pace. I think he then rallied from the last to the line to only be beaten 3 lengths. Now, if For Pleasure goes from the front, I think St. Sam is probably going to be at the mercy of For Pleasure. But if St. Sam can dictate from the front and do what he did on chase debut, I think he does have a good chance at a relatively good each way price.
There we go. Okay, St. Sam each way. I mean, my selection here, Magic Days.
If I know Alex Hales, For Pleasure will be dictating from the front.
But Magic Days here, I think, look, 14 to 1 selection, potentially a decent each way shout. A bit like Riviere de Tel, was beaten by Concertista, was also beaten by Jeremy's Flame, who's in second that day, who since came out and won. I think generally she's a 2-miler. Again, like Niall was saying, weight allowance can be key. Very similar in some ways to Put the Kettle On. When Put the Kettle On went and won this, they've put the horse away and left her for quite a while. I think she's got plenty of improvements still to come, and I think in potentially, like I say, what is a weak Arkle, she could definitely be a decent price in here. So yeah, we've got 1 selection for Riviere de Tel, 1 for Edwardstone, St. Sam each way, and Magic Days each way as well. We haven't had one that we've really agreed on yet, so potentially we're going to get that now, which will be the Champion Hurdle, which is the feature on day 1. This is a Grade 1 over 2 miles. Honeysuckle is your 2 to 1 on favourite here. Appreciate It 7 to 2. Tiapu is 8 to 1. Epitant 10 to 1. Zanahir 12 to 1. Adagio 16s. Then you're looking at 25 to 1. Bar these. Now, we have got a couple of giveaways tonight and a few nice little gifts courtesy of Hacked Up Horse Racing Gifts. Whoever can answer this first, I guess I'll go on the shout. I'll throw it over to you, or you can come collect it at the interval. But how many times has Honeysuckle gone unbeaten in her career?
13.
14, right there. Yeah, pass the socks just there. There we go. The Honeysuckle socks.
Gutted, I really wanted them socks.
No, there we go.
Substitution. Here, come up here again.
There you go. Perfect for a day at the races, they are. Yeah, look, lads. The Queen of Racing, she's back to defend her crown. Jack, look, this is really interesting because I've been watching a lot of the Cheltenham previews out there at the moment, and people are saying that she didn't look herself the last day, which I completely agree with, but some people are calling her just an above-average horse in a bad era. Is that fair in any way at all?
Not at all. Those people need to get their ears and eyes checked. I mean, yeah, Matt Chapman's saying she's not that good. I mean, you've gone unbeaten 14 times. It doesn't matter what's put in front of you. If you're beating Sharjah year after year, you're definitely not an above-average mare. She's an absolute superstar. Look, year after year, I try and get her beaten, and I always fall victim to her proving me wrong. Benny de Deux, I can't believe it to this day. she probably should have beaten Honeysuckle on that day, I think. But look, I can never back appreciate it after such a lengthy break. I know he was so impressive in the Supreme last year. Tiupu, I think, has to improve about 10, 15 pounds if he wants to get anywhere near Honeysuckle. I know he's very progressive, but I think it's all Honeysuckle. I know I'm going to try and get her beaten, but this year I'm actually not. She jumps, she travels, and hopefully she'll find. I can't have anything in the without market now. Sharjah's not there, and I'm actually just going to stick with Honeysuckle. I think she's too good.
Yeah, she's not a sexy price at all in here. It might be a race you just sit back and enjoy. Look, Mattie, she is very, very good in my opinion. I think she's going to pull out the fire here despite sort of idling the last day. It's easy to say when she's a 2-1 on shot, but yeah, what's your thoughts on her?
Listen, you can only beat what's in front of you. Listening to Matt Chapman, he's an above-average presenter anyway. So whatever he says goes straight over my head. I mean, anyone who's false tan, you can't take him seriously anyway, can he? Looks like an Oompa Loompa, doesn't he, from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? No, listen, she's the real deal. Do you know what? I'd love to see Tommy's Oscar run well. Anne Hamilton, they're a hard-working family. He's done nothing wrong. He's tough. And they are playing for second fiddle. Appreciate it. If anyone can get horse ready after a year off is Willie Mullins. But I don't care who you are. It's still hard to come back in a Grade 1 and put up any sort of show. If he does, it's some training performance. But Epperton, last 2 wins, again, you give her a good chance. Listen, Adagio as well. I mean, he just got beat by Goshen, going right-handed. And he's well known. He's got an engine. Is it the same engine? I think it started off as a Porsche. I think it's getting down to a Rodman Reliant now at the minute. But, yeah, it's very hard to see beyond Honeysuckle for me.
Yeah, no, look, first of all, I know that we both like the same horse in here, who was in a battle with the almighty Goshen. I'm glad that I can get him into a Cheltenham preview despite him not running there.
That was always going to happen.
It was always going to happen at some stage. Look, I just think that potentially Adagio's run, I know that the horse had a bit of an injury trouble towards sort of the middle of the season.
I believe it actually wasn't injured. I think it was wind up it was.
Yeah, that was it, yeah. And I mean, the horse has now since come out, run a really decent race behind the Moorlab.
Yeah.
Really, really good. And I just think that potentially there's improvement still to come. We look at that Greatwood Handicap run that he put in, where he was second off top weight. And I think everything that's been in that race has since wanted to come out and win. And he even won from your yard, Botox has, who was actually 8th in that race, has come out and won the National Spirit just the other week. He gave a lot of weight away that day, Adagio. Is he the one to play without Honeysuckle? Do you think he genuinely has the ability to win this?
I'd wonder where he has the ability to beat the Wondermare. That is being honest. I like horses that are coming back after the second run from wind up, because first run they always have to kind of get over it and trust themselves. So I do think the second run should show improvement for it. Like I said, into a handicap, the Greatwood, I rode it myself that day. It was end-to-end gallop. It was fast and furious, and he didn't actually get the best of runs, carrying a lot of weight against West Cork, who was thrown in at the weight it was. So he's got the handicap experience as well, which is always good going into a champion hurdle. Like second to Goshen the last day, I know Fly McIntyre rides him out in the morning times, and he was very confident he would come on for the run. So at 16-1, I think he's definitely each way play his chance or bet him without.
Yeah, I genuinely think he's got a really decent each way chance in here. He's definitely going to be my bet on day one. I'm going to have a decent go on him each way. Does anyone here actually, I mean, put your hands up, does anyone here actually believe that Appreciate It can beat Honeysuckle for a show of hands? Anyone actually believe it could happen? There we go. See, it was as simple as that. An easy question. Easy question. Right, let's go on to the Mares' Hurdle. This is a really interesting race. A Grade 1 over 2.5 miles. Tell Me Something Girls, your 11-4 favourite. Concertista is 7-2. Royal Kahala 5-1. Stormy Island 5-1. Burning Victory, Heaven Help Us, and Queensbrook, they're all 7s and 8-1 bar those. Now, Niall, a really weird race here because we've got last year's Mares' Novice Hurdle winner coming here, and a horse that hasn't won all season. I don't want to bring up the Concertista thing because she broke my heart last year after winning the Mares' Novice Hurdle and then going to the Mares' Hurdle and getting pipped by Jack's Tip on the day, which was even worse. But it's a really open-looking race. One thing I will say is, where are the British mares in here? Because the Irish dominate the top of this market.
We haven't got any. They're useless. The best we got is
Marie's Rock.
Marie's Rock or Dan Skelton's. Ella finished third in the bumper last year.
Bell.
Yeah.
But you just can't compete with them.
And it's also, he generally, breeding wise, Ireland's a much bigger producer of young stock foals, obviously, and if you're selling towards Ingle, generally you buy a gelding, you do. So hence why we're left with the mares to play around with. And thankfully, you've now given us the mares chase, the mares hurdle, and the mares novice hurdle for Cheltenham, which is like a 3 easy strikes for us it is. Hence why I'm going for Stormy Ireland.
Well, I think Cheltenham form's obviously key. I think a lot of people in here will probably be, looking at last year's runs and looking at horses who have performed at Cheltenham. Stormy Island's one of those and did look very good in here. And like I say, it's very open. Any of these could go and win this. Mattie, I'm sure you're with one of the Irish mares. There's nothing else to go with. Who are you going to be with in here?
Burning Victory for me, just third behind Classical Dream. Flooring Porter was second that race. I just think what I've seen of her, I just like her attitude, and I think she'd be one to beat, and I think she's a bit of value, 7-1.
Right, okay, yeah. Jack and I both like the horse actually finished second that day behind Burning Victory, and that's Queensbrook. Jack, tell us a bit about Queensbrook and why you fancy this horse.
Yeah, I'm a really big fan of Queensbrook, if I'm being honest. I think she's got a cracking chance on day one. I think she just showed class from day dot. She went and won her bumper by 21 lengths, then finished third in the champion bumper behind Fernie Hollow and Appreciate It. And in terms of British form, that is the best British form you can have behind probably two of the best Irish horses in training there is. Now, looking back at that champion bumper, she also finished ahead of Third Time Lucky and Esky Lane, who are now rated, 153 and 146. And a novice campaign, I think they were trying to run her over 2 miles when she clearly didn't want 2 miles. But the only thing for me is she is a bit susceptible to an injury. Of course, she's quite hard to get fit. Gordon Elliott has said she's quite hard to get fit. She was second to Sky Ace over 2 miles, and that was when Sky Ace was in the peak of her powers before she went and won a Grade 1, and then behind Concertista and Manella Melody, and they were just both a lot more experienced on the day. Now, she needed a run at Wexford, but I was extremely impressed with the way she dismissed Ciel de Neige over 2 mile forward. It was the first time I thought the penny had actually dropped with her, and she stuck her neck out all the way to the line to stretch away and win that. Yeah, again, she had another setback. Gordon was worried he'd have to have a race course gallop with her, but luckily last time out at Punchestown, I thought she showed all the elements of a classy mare. She sent her to the race that Black Tears won, Apple's Jade finished second in. Of course, they both won the mares, but he emphasised she will need the run. Now, I thought she jumped well. She sat about 6 lengths off Burning Victory, but she closed all the way to the line. Now, she was 11 lengths clear of Dysart Diamond in third, who I think is a respectable mare as well on a day. But considering how Punchestown on that inner track, it's so tight, I think this stiff finish at Cheltenham is really going to suit her. Of course, she's £3 better off with Burning Victory. I think Burning Victory on her own accord is a very good mare as well. Tell Me Something Girl, I completely understand the reason she's favourite. Of course, was carrying 11 stone 9 last time out and stayed on all the way to the line. But I just think, as a value play, I think Gordon Elliott has a great chance of winning it again. Of course, it was Denise Foster last year, but I think Gordon has a great chance of winning it again with Black Tears. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Queensbrook.
Queensbrook, there we go. Yeah, sorry. Queensbrook is like I say, a really interesting contender, just due to the fact that 10 runs. In all of her 10 runs, she's placed in the first 3. So, in my opinion, she's an absolute each-way bet to nothing in here. I think she's a real star mare. I think Cod seemed very excited when talking about this horse and the chance of her. I think that the way she ran in behind Burning Victory, the time was very good, and she was staying on stoutly. Just what you need at Cheltenham. Every race there is going to be run at a hell of a gallop, I'm sure. So, I think Queensbrook will be staying on. I think she'll be the selection in here. Now we'll go on to a race we won't preview for too long. It's one of the Grade 2s on the card, the National Hunt Chase for the amateur jockeys. Statler's 5-2, Run Wild Fred 11-4, Vanilliers 9-2, Fury Road 15-2, 3 under through 5 is 15-2, Farouk Delen is 8-1 and 10-1 bar these. If I was to guess some of the jockey bookings here, I'm guessing that Jamie Codd's probably going to go for Run Wild Fred. I think Patrick Mullins will probably be aboard Statler, and I don't know whether I know for sure, but has O'Connor been booked for Vanillier? I don't know if anyone knows that officially, but I don't know. Oh, okay. Okay, it would be interesting to see. But it's always to do it. This is the Patrick Mullins and Jamie Codd race, usually. They tend to go and win this. Mattie, is it between the two of them here, or is there anything at a price?
I think Vanilla, Gavin Cromwell, he's a shrewd man. He won the Albert Bartlett's last year. He's run it over fences. It's just been knocking at the door, finishing third. I think he's a better horse. He's a graded horse. He's a Grade 1 winner. I think he's got form in the book. I think he's better than all this, and I think that's why Gavin Cromwell's chose this, because I think it's easy pickings for him. I honestly do.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm going to be with you in this, but Niall, you were at Fontwell on National Spirit Hurdle Day. Obviously, Darva Star came over for the yard. I'm sure sort of the team were there. What were the vibes with regards to Vanilla?
I was speaking to a few of the team I was, and they are very hopeful. As I said, he's their best chance of the meeting.
Oh, okay,
And,
there we go.
Don't quote
That's
me
a good
on that.
everyone. Any time you say that, no matter who it is,
They're all
always
very,
start
they're all
backing it.
very hot about him. And look,
Flooring Porter.
Vanilla. Vanilla is the one in here, I can tell you.
I think
that.
so. I think he's definitely. It's his race. It is.
Yeah, I think look, the horse stays all day. Jack, go on, mate. Just go and make it a full house for us and tell us that
How
this.
could I follow that? He just told you Gavin Cromwell's best chance of the festival is Vanilla. How am I meant to
Well,
go to that,
if
eh?
you look at the screen now, everyone's gone Vanilla, and you've decided to go against all of us here with Run Wild Fred, and you look a right muppet.
Yeah, I could do, but as you said, it is the Jamie Codd and Patrick Mullins show. And I think Jamie Codd is going to have the winner here with Run Wild Fred. Look, this race just suits second season chasers. Run Wild Fred, I think he's as consistent as they come. Last time out, when he lost to Fury Road, he clattered into the second last, I think it was. And I think he's just exceptional. He was exceptional when finishing second in the Irish National last year. Statler's interesting, but I just think he's so unexposed. I think this kind of suits someone a little bit more seasoned, a little bit more experience. And I think Run Wild Fred, I mean, you've made a great case for Vanilla. I just don't know if he has the class of Run Wild Fred, and hopefully he'll be able to battle it out all the way to the line.
There we go. There is our selections for the National Hunt Chase, and Vanilla is Gavin Cromwell's best chance of the meeting. There we go. So those who fancy Flooring Porter might be in a bit of trouble. Let's move on to day two. We'll finish day two off in a second, then we'll have to go to an interval for about 10-15 minutes. But we'll kick things off on day two with the Ballymore. Grade 1 over 2 mile 5 furlongs. Sir Gerhard, again, he's in here 6-5. Dysart Dynamo 2-1. Constitution Hill, I really doubt this horse will go there, 5-2. Ginto is 9-2. Journey with Me is 9-2. John Bon is also in there with Minella Cuckoo. Now I've got to get used to these two. And Stage Star. Now, I'm very confident in saying Sir Gerhard's not going to be going here. I know that the manager of Cheveley Park said it's 50-50 whether they go here or the Supreme, but I'm very confident. I think if one's going to go, it's going to be Dysart Dynamo. Mattie, the concerns with Dysart Dynamo, and Willie was talking about these two, is he was going to have a chat with Paul to ask if he thought that Dysart Dynamo would settle in a Ballymore.
Paul have a chat with Ruby.
And then it'll go
Ruby
elsewhere.
have a chat with Ted.
It is an interesting one, because potentially if we're talking about Dysart Dynamo and Sir Gar being the two top horses in Supreme, if one of them was to step up, do you think one of them's going to win it?
I think Sir Gerhard should go for this race.
Really?
It will improve his jumping.
Do you think it was that bad? Do you actually think it was that bad?
No, it wasn't bad at all. It wasn't bad, but he's jumped like a horse who's trying to jump at a speed that he's not comfortable at. So you step him up in trip, they just go slower a little bit, and his jumping will improve. I think they should run in this race, because I think they would win it. I do like Dysart Dynamo. He's been very impressive. Probably hasn't nothing to sort of shout about from the trees that he's beat, but I think, if Sir Gerhard ran in this, you would see a different horse. As you say, he hasn't jumped that bad. It's just silly little novice mistakes, because he's just trying to go quicker than he's out of his comfort zone.
You just can't do that around Cheltenham.
You can't do that.
No.
You're giving too much ground away, and it's hard to make up. So I honestly don't... Listen, they probably
If he were to go, you'd fancy him. If
know
not,
more,
you'd be with
they
the
know
other
more
Williams.
about the horse than I would, but I just think it's a funny decision. Especially with Constitution in the Supreme, I think this is an easier option. I really do.
When do you think we're going to get that decision? Do you think we're literally going to get that 48 hours
Listen,
before
I
the
think
Supreme?
they've made the decision, but they ain't going to tell anyone.
Yeah, I
Waiting
mean,
for the right price.
I've
On
heard
the
that on
Monday,
social media.
probably.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what happens. But I can see I think the market. I can see so if let's say Sir Gar goes here, he'll be odds on. That's what I'll say. But I don't think he will. I think he's going to go to Supreme. But we'll wait and see. Jack in here. Who do you fancy?
It's a bit of a tricky one. I don't actually think they'll send Sir Gerhard here. I do think they'll keep him over 2 miles. I know they've made a great case to send him over 2.5. I just think his pedigree kind of points to a little bit more speed. I think if they kept him over 2 miles, yes, he didn't jump that great last
My dad's a
time out.
bricklayer. I can't lay a brick to save my life. Don't worry about pedigree.
I just think he's been so speedy lately. I understand.
Can't ride horse either, but that's
neither
irrelevant.
can I, so that's all right. But, No, look, if you send Sir Gerhard here, yes, it is an easier race. I'm just not too sure he kind of has the stamina of a Ginto, perhaps. I've been really impressed with Ginto. Everyone said he wasn't too speedy early doors. They were kind of aiming at him at the Albert Bartlett, but I mean, especially in the Lawless and Ace, I kind of think he put the race to bed in good style in what was a very messy race as a whole. So Ginto's one that I definitely have an eye on. Also, what do you want? He's a big each way price. And I just think, A, I think Willie Mullins is obsessed with this horse. I think he really does like him. And B, I think last time out, the Lawless and Ace, it was a very messy race. But I mean, his form so far, when he won on the hurdling debut, I thought he was very impressive. He ran on the same day as Ginto. And in terms of time, I mean, it was pretty identical. He won ease down, so did Ginto at the end of the day. But I think he jumped really nice. He was nice and efficient over his obstacles. And when the penny actually dropped and he kind of actually decided to go for the line, I mean, his last final sectional from the final hurdle to the line was actually a really decent time. So, I mean, if What Do You Want did go here and didn't step up and trip, I know a lot of people want him to run in the Albert Bartlett. I think he'd have a decent each way chance. But yeah, if Sir Gerhard goes here, it all changes. But Ginto will be the one for me, and I'll be watching What Do You Want with good interest.
Yeah, it's a really hard race to call because we don't actually know who's going to be at the top of the market for this race. It's interesting with What Do You Want? The horse is owned by the sponsor, the Ballymore. They've actually won this race with City Island a few years back. So it's very interesting. I'm sure they'll go here rather than the Bartlett. They'll want to try and win the race that they sponsor. So be interesting to see. Journey with Me is probably one of my best bets of the meeting in here. And a lot of people have slated this horse saying it should go to the Albert Bartlett. It's an absolute plodder, slow as boats and everything like this. Now, if you go back and look at the last run, they went at an absolute crawl in that race, and it did not suit this horse at all. I think if they go off like the Clappers, like they're probably going to do, I think this will suit this horse down to a T. Now, Henry's horses over the last 2 months, they haven't been running well at all. Now, we started to see these horses now come back to form just at the right time, typical Henry de Bromhead. And I just think that the vibes with this horse, and what I'm hearing is he's been working with Bob Ollinger, which we'll get onto when we get into the second part of the preview, but he is really, really electric. I think they think a hell of a lot of this horse. He's probably going to be even better over 3 miles as a chaser next season, but look, they won this race with Bob Ollinger last season. I'm not saying this horse is as good as Bob Ollinger. I think he's a little bit more of a stayer than Bob Ollinger and less speed, but in what looks like potentially what could be a weaker Ballymore, if Sir Gerhard were to go to Supreme, I think he's a right chance in here, Journey with Me. And Niall, we had a phone call midweek, and you quite fancy a chance of this horse as well.
Yeah, I like him as well. Like, so far we've gone through a day and a half of race, and we haven't mentioned Bromhead's horses nearly, bar Honeysuckle, obviously. Yeah. But like this time last year, the man could do no wrong. Obviously, the winter hasn't gone his way. But if you look at this horse's form through the winter, when his horses supposedly weren't on peak, he's still winning these. I know he's by Mahler, a sire that I do like, but comes from the family of Kilbarry Demon. That mare stands, they say, about 20 minutes down the road from me there, and I know the breeder quite well. I know the family quite well. And
here comes another big quote.
It predominantly uses bumper winners and that. So I actually, even though he might be a plodder, I do think he naturally, given how Jack loves his pedigrees, Jack's really into his pedigrees.
Love a pedigree.
And I think this horse's pedigree just does suit the Ballymore in the sense that he won 3 miles in time, but he still has got a bit of an engine for the 2.5, 2.5 trip. And I think Haynes Bromhead's running about a 20% strike rate for the last 2 weeks, so they're coming into form at the right time.
Yeah, they're coming in right at the right time.
6-1.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's a fair price at the moment. I think he's a decent win bet, and he's going to be my best bet on day 2 of the festival.
I wouldn't read too much into form in early January, because a lot of trainers...
It's flu jabs.
Flu jabs. They need to get them in. Their main aim is Cheltenham. They're not bothered if they run a little bit under par in January, February, because
a lot of them go on holidays to Barbados.
Yeah.
Leave the rest of us back in the yard.
Honestly, it's like we're going to see some of these horses, especially Henry de Bromhead's horses. They're going to be running well at the festival, no matter what they've done previously. I mean, we talked about Tell Me Something Girl earlier for the Mayor's Hurdle, and she hasn't won this season, but you wouldn't be surprised to see her go and win that. Let's move on now to the Brown Advisory Novices Chase. This is on the Wednesday as well. It's a Grade 1. Galloping de Champs in here. We've got another market
That's
we're going to see.
That's all you need to say, Galloping de Champs. That's it.
Well, yeah, well.
Let's move on to the next race.
At the moment, the horse is 4-5 in here. Bob Ollinger won't be going here, but the horse is 5-4. Brave Man's Game is 7-4. Ahoy Senor is 9-2. L'Homme Presse won't be going here. That horse is 5-1. Capadana probably go here 6-1. Statler's 8-1. Probably won't go here. Jungle Boogie's a really fascinating contender, and 12-1 bar those. Now, Mattie, you mentioned there that Galloping de Champ's all I need to say. Now, I know what selection you put up for the Turners, and it seems like potentially that is the route they are going to take. Another game of Willie Mullins bingo here. Where are they going to send this horse? Now, probably a week ago, you would have said the Turners was nailed on, but a lot of money's been coming for this horse again for this race. If he does go here, obviously he's probably going to go and win. But if not, do you think that Brave Man's Game is the British banker on day 2?
Yeah, do you know what? I think Mullins will go Turners. I think whatever race Galloping de Champ runs in, he'll win. I just think big call. You've heard it here live. It's a big call from a little man, and I've called it. I've called it. Right? Brave Man's Game. Yes, I'm standing up. I'm standing on a stool. Both of these horses, I think they will separate. Brave Man's Game will probably go here, and here win. Galloping here goes to Turners. If two horses, if a jockey's dream to ride, I mean, no, I'll tell you, these two horses jumping.
Did you see him down Brave Man's Game down to last in Kempton?
It was pornographic. That's how good it was.
That's what we live for.
That's what we live for.
Safety.
This is not being rude. That is pornographic stuff there. These two jump. And they will separate and they will win their both races.
Yeah, I genuinely, we're going to get on to 2 good jumpers actually through this preview, but I think Brave Man's Game is one of the best jumpers I've seen of a fence, and really interesting way they've campaigned the horse with Nichols. I mean, I love the fact they sent the horse to a handicap, and what he did off top weight was sublime, really giving all that weight away. Jack, with regards to Brave Man's Game, obviously he won at Kempton, looked very impressive, beat Ahoy Signor, who I believe is now going to go here. They were talking about potentially going Aintree. That was on a flatter track. We're now at Cheltenham. Jack, what's the opinion here?
It's going to be just a price thing for me because Brave Man's Game is clearly the best jumper in the race. He's clearly the classiest, but Ahoy Signor is 2.5 times the price of Brave Man's Game, and I just can't get that in my head because as soon as he goes left-handed, he turns into a different beast. I mean, around Kempton, he didn't jump that well. There was mistake after mistake, and I mean, Brave Man's Game, when he brushed him aside.
Turns into a different beast, Ahoy.
Ahoy Signor, I think, going left-handed.
Yeah, it turns into a Grade 2 horse. Yeah, not a Grade, not a Grade 1 horse. Yeah. He's not in his league. He's not in his league.
I don't think he's quite.
He's going to have a nice view of Brave Man's backside. That's all he's going to see.
He will
that
until
is
2
all
out.
He's going to see.
Until 2 out when he takes it up, comes there travelling on the bit.
No.
Look, they've chosen to go here instead of Aintree, and I just think the way he's jumping. I know he's unseated at Carlisle, lost at Kempton as well. I just think going left-handed, he is a lot of a better horse than he is going right-handed. I know he jumped to right for about the first third in the Towton last time out, but I mean, he got into a lovely rhythm halfway and stretched away in good style as he also did at Newbury. Now, yes, he's got a lot to find with Brave Man's Game, but he's 2.5 times the price of him. I love a stat. I love a stat, guys. The last 6 winners of the Quarto Star have failed to beat the horses in the RSA, the Brand Advisory, that they beat in the Quarto Star. Oh. So I'd love to see if Ahoy Signor can make that 7 out of 7 and continue that trend.
And also I'd like to see Cinder Russell, Peter Scudamore, great team up to north, and like Derek Fox who rides him. He's a brilliant lad. So for them to win it would be one of the nicest winners of the festival.
Who would be your selection now?
My selection's Brave Man's Game.
Would be Brave Man's Game in here. Okay,
Head over heart, sorry.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, a horse...
Did you say Le Hombre don't run?
I believe Le Hombre will be going to the Turners.
Mattie's getting 9-2 about Brave Man's Game. What?
Yeah, sorry. That is
absolutely thrown you under the bus.
That's for giving Irish lads.
It was 7-4 Brave Man's Game. I mean, a horse that I like. I mean, I don't actually like him too much, but there's a horse called Bustleton who potentially. I mean, he probably will end up a non-runner in here, but he's a big price for the Joseph O'Brien yard. He hasn't done too much over fences in terms of the distance, but since being stepped up in trip, every time he's been stepped up, he's looked all right. And I think if potentially some of these get taken out, I think that he'll be an each way chance. He may not come here, but it's not a race I'm too interested in, to be totally totally honest until we see the markets fully unfold. But yeah, he'd be a potential each-way squeak if going here. Let's go on to the feature. It's going to be a really good race to preview. This is the Queen Mother Champion Chase, Wednesday, 3:30, 2 miles, Grade 1. Shishkin 8-13, Chacan Poursoir 7-2, Energamine 9-2, Nube Negra is 10-1, Envilen 16-1, Fernambles Civola is 16-1, and Put the Kettle On, last year's winner. That horse 16-1, 25-1. Bar those. Let's give away another pair of socks. Let's give away the Shishkin socks. I got a good one. Mattie Batchelor rode a horse in an Albert Bartlett trial that went and won, and then went to win a Gold Cup a few years later. What was the name of the horse that Mattie rode it in the Albert Bartlett trial. He didn't ride it in the Gold Cup. What was the name of the horse that ended up winning that Gold Cup?
Arkle.
No. Ends in Gree. There we go. Yeah, Dad can have him. Keep silent. First one to put
Yeah.
far back. Yeah, you can come collect him at the end. Whoever's at the far back, they can have the socks. Perfect. Right, this is a really fascinating contention race. But Shishkin versus Energamine. Look, it is been put down as a battle between the two of these horses. Now, Energamine, again, all over the show in the exchanges. Now, Ruby tells us the horse is absolutely fine, stop panicking. We heard, the quote I've been hearing, I actually heard you on a Racing Post Live, I think, Mattie, where someone said to you about that race at Ascot, where if they'd run this over the Champion Chase distance, that Energamine would have been in front at the time of the chat. Right, this is like the Gino De Campo quote. Like, if my grandmother had wheels, she would have been a bike. Yeah. But it's literally like, why are people so focused on that? There were so many people telling me, I kept getting messages saying, if they'd run that over the Champion Chase distance, Energamine would have won. Shishkin, in my opinion, is by far the better horse. What's your opinion?
I totally agree, Shishkin. Now, if you to run this race, listen, my heart says if Ergonomine wins, then Tony Blue might buy us a decent striker, but...
Brighton fan on the end.
Brighton fan, of course I am, yeah. Ooh. But that's not going to happen at Cheltenham. If they raced at Aintree, I think you might see a different result. Flatter track, speed comes into play. Cheltenham, again, what I was saying earlier, speed, you need to stay. Shishkin has just outstayed him at Ascot. They've gone down that hill. Nico said that I had never been so fast down the Ascot hill in my life. They went absolutely lickety-spit. And he's just outstayed him, that's all. People going, Shishkin's made a couple of mistakes. No, he hasn't. Again, what I was saying earlier, just out of his comfort zone. Something's actually put it to him. And he's just put himself right at the fences. He's just dumped him a bit slow. And again, as Niall will tell you that, when horses do that, they're clever. And they just get themselves out of trouble. It might take him a fraction more, a bit of a time, but they've got over it. And he's outstayed him. And they've outstayed him at Cheltenham. Simple. Okay,
yeah, Shishkin is a very confident selection there. Look, from Mattie's 4-6. I mean, it's really not he's 8-13, but he's not an attractive price in here. But Chacan Poursoir is a horse that I do want to discuss because he's a horse that you wouldn't be shocked to see win here, but every time he's made the trip over to England, it's all seemed to have gone wrong for him. No, look, you can discuss Chacan Poursoir here as well, but your selection is a British selection, but not the one at the top of the market, which is interesting. But look, discuss Chacan and let us know a bit more about your selection.
Chacan Poursoir course form is not very strong, is it?
That's crap.
Yeah,
well, no.
Exactly.
Well, they said after that race, they said that they wish they rode it differently. Like, I mean, he wasn't exactly that far away at the end. Do you not think that you're not going to? I said you're not going to be shocked if he does go and win this because he definitely has the ability on his Irish.
I would be
form.
shocked if Shishkin doesn't win this.
If he doesn't win this,
right. I'd be shocked, to be honest. I think Ascot, everything didn't really go to plan. Like the pace they went in Ascot, when First Flow can't make it around there, they're going lickety split, and he still just had to get to grind it out and do it. Energamine in that race had the best run in front round Ascot, jumping fence to fence. Like, he had a dream run and he still got beaten. So I think the better horse won that day. Chacan Poursoir, he's 10 years old, he's getting on. The legs mightn't have juice left in him. But my selection was Fernambles Civola, long enough price, 16-1, I believe.
Yeah,
very impressed with how he's done this season. Rangers horse are in great form. Charlie Deutsch can't do no wrong. And I just think when the favourite is so short and so hard to re-back at that price, he's a good HOA shout.
Can I just discuss with regards to Venetia Williams? I mean, we'll probably discuss it more when we get on to L'Homme Pressé later in the preview, but this bug that's been going around the yard, you lads are probably going to know a little bit more. How much of a worry is it when you get this bug going around, and do they keep the horses away from potential horses who have this bug?
That would probably be their first point of call. They'd say, right, Venetia's got a massive yard, so they'll probably look at what's running at Cheltenham, what's got the bug, what hasn't got the bug. They separate them, they keep them well apart. Even going out in the mornings, they do everything to keep them apart. But listen, it's like anything. It's in the air. You probably want them to get it earlier rather than later, to be honest, because it's inevitable. They're gonna get it at some stage because they're in that vicinity of each other.
Yeah, no. So like Venetia, she's a top class trainer. She's been in that game for years and years. Not making any statement about her, but like I'm sure she'll have every precaution being taken. Yeah,
honestly, like as a trainer, she's literally been in form all season. She hasn't had her spells. Everything that she seems to be sending out seems to be running well. But yeah, Fernando Sivola potentially an each way selection here. Jack and I are both going to give you an each way selection here. Get ready for this because Jack tipped this horse up last year. Probably unlucky not to win last year. A bit more Nube Negra propaganda here.
Unfortunately, I'm sorry for everyone who's ever seen our podcast ever.
I'm going to agree with him.
Look, Shishkin is probably going to be too good at Cheltenham. That is for sure. But just in case he does make a mistake, I know they're going to go off at breakneck speed again. I think Energamain's going to go from the front yet again. But I think Nube Negra is a cracking each way bet here. I'd say he was the most unlucky horse at the festival last year. Harry Skelton came there absolutely travelling like a monster, and then he had to switch right late on, hit the line with plenty of conviction. But there's two things Nube Negra loves. One is Cheltenham, and the second one is being fresh. Now, I think the Tingle Creek, you can completely put a line through that, as you can do Punchestown last year. But I mean, seeing him travel like he did in the Schlur Chase before he kicked 6 lengths clear of Politolog, I mean, I still think he's a very, very classy horse on his day. I think he's still improving as well. Will he be good enough to get the better of Shishkin up the hill? I'm not too sure, if I'm being honest, but one thing's for certain, he's going to travel like the winner at some stage. I think 2 out, he'll be settled towards the rear. Energamain will go off at a breakneck speed in front. Others will be coming off the bridle. Does he have enough to find what Shishkin finds? I'm not too sure, but I think he's a bang on each way bet.
Yeah, it's the one thing I will say is that we saw this with Altior Surname a couple of seasons back, but they had that hard race at Ascot, took it out each other. I know the ground was different that day. Does anyone think that potentially one of these is going to feel the effects of that race at all, or is it just a matter of it just wasn't as hard as what Altior and Surname had that year?
I think they're totally two different races. You've got Altior was trying to trip that he probably shouldn't have done. Them 2 horses have run over a trip they've run out throughout their careers. That's their day-to-day job. They've had plenty of time to get over it. It'll be fine. Yeah, I think the other 2, they're 2 different horses taking on. They should have been running over different trips. They should have took each other on, to be honest, personally.
Okay, yeah, it's. I think Shishkin is going to go and win this, but I do think if you want a decent each-way selection, again to nothing, it's Nube Negra. The horse goes well fresh. They've kept him in mind for this race straight after that Tingle Creek, and I really do think he's going to be involved in the placings. I think Energamain, something's just not going to go right on the day, I feel. But it'd be interesting to see. It's going to be a really fascinating clash. I think it's potentially probably the race of the week.
Just quickly on Energamain, of course, he has a stone bruise that it kind of came out. I don't know, he drifted loads in the betting. How much would that affect him going into the Champion Chase?
Depends how good a fire it is. Exactly it, really.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's like anything. Like in a blood blister, you can get over it in. There'll be certain horses that won't take wimps or hardy horses that just carry on. They wouldn't feel his stone bruise. There'd be others that'd be like, oh, this hurts and all that. You know, it all depends on the horse, and it can be something, it can be nothing.
Okay, it will be interesting to see. I mean, just as a show of hands, Shishkin fans, go. Yeah. Any Energamain fans? None at all. See,
who are the wrestling fans of?
I'm not going to give a shout for any other horses. Right, let's go on to the next race in preview. We won't preview this one for too long at all, but this is the cross-country chase. This is at 4:10 on the Wednesday. I'm looking forward to actually being inside the course for this one, to see this one run. This is over 3 mile, 6 furlongs, and Tiger Roll, those even who don't even know about racing seem to know this name, is 7-4. Prem Guard is 9-2. Delta Work 5-1. Easy's Land 7-1. Shady Operator 8-1. Brahma Bull is 9s. Midnight Maestro 10-1 and 14-1 bar those. Where's Jack Stannard? There he is. Last year, I actually was watching this race with you, and you had a decent amount of money. You said one last time, Tiger, one last time. And he did the business, he won your money, but are you going to go one more time again? Because he's actually got a realistic chance. Yeah, he's going again, right. Well, the one thing I'll say with regards to this horse is I think he's a certainty if the ground comes up good or even just good to soft. I genuinely think he's out. I think he's a lot better than the ones in here. I don't think this Prem Guard's going to actually go to the race. Rumours having that they're not going to go. They bought the horse from France. And look, I think he'll be safe for next season. It'll be interesting to see. Delta Work, I don't think he's going to go and spoil the party for the Gigginstown Silks. Easy's Land, I really haven't been impressed with Easy's Land, to be honest, so far. And I think if it did come up soft, you'd give him a chance. But I think the rest of them are a bunch of handicappers, to be totally honest. Niall, your opinion?
Yeah, like Tiger Roll, he is definitely to be all then love horse racing currently. Be great to see him win it again. Good soft, good ground. You should really get it. Like the country course doesn't get watered on. It's generally quite a better course. He seems Gordon should have him in good form. But the one I've picked at a bigger price is Diesel Dalier for Richard Bandy. And purely because I actually sat in this horse when I spent time out in France when he was with Emmanuel Cleo. And seeing how they train horses over and how much they school them. Obviously, he's won around here before, with Charlie Deutsch, I think it was as well. And he's one of those. He'd be a pro at this sort of course compared to the rest of them, more course form in essence. So yeah, at a large price, I think he'd be one to back you.
Yeah, Diesel Daly is currently 14-1. Mattie, I know you're actually a big fan of this horse as well.
Yeah, and Niall sat on him, so he's improved him no end.
Sat him 4 years ago.
And Harry Bannister, cracking lad, yeah. First time round, he finished third. Then he went and won. So, as a good price. But if you fancy him, I also fancy old Potter's Corner as well. So he finished second to him behind that as well. So, yeah, I mean, listen, Tiger Roll, he's a bit of a heart horse, isn't he? You'd love to go and see him win. He's 12 years old now. But, yeah, for me, Diesel Dalier, Richard Bandy, he's been a point-to-point jockey for years. He's mad as hatters and he celebrates a win really well. So, yeah, I'd love to see him win and give Potter's Corner each way chance as well.
Okay, yeah, be interesting. Jack, just please don't tell me I'm the only one keeping the real strong faith in Tiger Roll here.
You are. Yeah, just you and Jack Stannard by the looks of it. Look, he's 12 years old and he's 7-4.
Yeah, but you're saying about 12 years old, but a new story, 14 when he won it?
He was, yeah. But I don't know. I just think he's so hit and miss these days. It'd be great to see him do it. The only thing I hope is that they don't send Delta Work here. Because can you imagine Gordon Elliott sends Delta Work here?
He's next year's winner. He's next year's winner.
I just hope they don't send him there this year because I think he'd win it if they do send him it this year. So I hope they don't do that. But yeah, I think Diesel Dalier could run another big race. He's got the course form. But also Henry de Bromhead's plan of attack seems to be really hit and miss over these cross-country fences. Was fourth in the Kim Muir in 2020. But I mean, he's been so hit and miss. But I mean, when he switched to the cross-country fences in November, I think he showed plenty of promise to stay on. He was just 2 lengths behind, back on the lash. Fast forward a month, finished third behind Diesel Dalier. I think he may be there or thereabouts. And if the Tiger does fail to fire, I think hopefully he'll be able to pick up the pieces.
Okay, interesting to see a few decent each way selections, especially from the jockeys on the end there. Diesel Dalier 14-1, both agreeing with that. Jack with plan of attack, but I'm just going to keep the faith with Tiger Roll. Now, the last race we're going to preview before the interval is the Champion Bumper. It's the 5:30, last race. 2 mile, grade 1. This is actually a really, usually I don't get that excited over a bumper, but this is a really, really good bumper in my opinion. Facile Vega's 5-6, American Mike is 5-2, Redemption Day 5-1, Mercury is 8-1, James's Gate 12-1, Our Jester 16-1, Poetic Music 18-1, and 20-1. Bar those. This is often one where you watch it and then straight after the race you decide where this horse is going next year. Jack, Facile Vega was absolutely class at the Dublin Racing Festival. There's no doubt about it. But what says that some of the others couldn't do the same on that day?
Nothing, I don't think. I think Facile Vega, there's something about Facile Vega which I don't really like. I think there's a lot of hype, as there is with John Bomb, just because who they're related to. Of course, Cavega, walk in the park, you can't really get too much better breeding than that, as I am a great fan of the old breeding. But look, I think if you've been listening to Jamie Codd talk about American Mike, it's very hard not to get excited about him. What has he beaten? I'm not too sure just yet, but if the King George has told me one thing, it's do not be scared of a Willie Mullins second string. And Redemption Day, when Patrick Mullins got off Redemption Day on that day, and they were talking about Facile Vega and Redemption Day, he couldn't stop talking about Redemption Day. And I think he's probably the speedier of the two. I know he missed his engagement last time out, but I think Facile Vega is probably going to be better in time and probably over further. But I think Redemption Day has the gears. It looks like he's a bit more push button. It depends kind of what pace they go at. Early doors, it's usually run at a decent speed. Of course, Rachel Blackmore with an absolute peach on Sir Gerhard last year. But look, I think American Mike and Facile Vega have to be respected, but I think the value play is definitely Redemption Day.
Yeah, I think the quote actually was from Patrick Mullins. Is he saw Jamie Codd at the races and said like how impressive was that from Facile Vega, and Patrick Mullins' quote was something along the lines of, we have one better at home in regards to Redemption Day. So it's going to be a really fascinating one. It's not, Mattie, look, it's not one that you can really punt heavily on, knowing that you know a lot in this. So it's not a strong selection, but I think we both like American Mike, who Jamie Codd, like Jack said, he said he wouldn't switch for anything in here. Is it just one where at the prices you'd rather him over Facile Vega?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, over the years, the Codmeister, as he's known, he's been known to be a really...
Godfather.
the Codfather, yeah. He's the best judge of a horse, and he sat on a few. Facile Vega, if you look at the favourites for Willie Mullins in this race, it's not great. He always comes to win with a second string. Redemption Man gives it a chance. But yeah, American Mike, these bumpers, they're difficult because you see him win on the bridle in Ireland and they do everything easy. But as Jack says, what have they actually beaten?
Yeah.
Until you come to a proper race like this, when you've got all these good horses together and someone has to stand up and show what they're made of, because they probably all have beat, not a lot, probably moderate horses that will go and win. Yes, they are a little bit better than these, but now they're coming up against each other, and yeah, you've got short price favourites, but to me it's still a bit of a pin. You've got to go to Cheltenham. They go around these tracks at home, they get a nice run round, and it's easy for them. They're on the bridle, they get plenty of daylight. You go to Cheltenham, there's so many runners, they're getting... Like, these horses might not have been... They've had 2 or 3 runs. They might not have got bumped in their life. As soon as they get a bump, all of a sudden, it's a different story. So it's a whole new different playing field. So it's who handles it the best.
Yeah, it really is. And I think Niall's got one a fair bit of a price here. And that is Mullenbeg at 20-1. What do you like about this horse?
Yeah, I like the trainer a lot, Mitten Harris. He's making an absolute comeback and a half, he has, this season. His horse are really running well. As I can see, he's won around Cheltenham before. He's getting weight off the rest of them. Like, he's going to need a lot of luck, but 20-1 on each way price, I think he's a very good shout. There's a lot of them you could throw in there, like that Hughie Morrison's horse, he ran a very good race around Lingfield. I rode in that bumper myself that day, and we absolutely hacked. No one had a good run round there, and we sprinted it from about 4 furlongs out, and he's shown a great turn of foot to win by about 4 lengths, I think. So he's another one at 20-1. And Redemption Day of the fancy ones I'd go for, simply because he's going for his second run. And I just tend to think horses do improve a lot from their first run generally, just as experience-wise in that. And I think he just, 6 or 7-1, he could be the best between the 2 top ones.
Yeah, it's really going to be interesting to see how this race pans out. And at the prices, I like American Mike. I think he's done everything so easy. And as these lads have been saying, look, we don't know exactly what he's beaten, but you can only beat what's in front of you. And the way he's been doing it's been really nice. It's not going to be a punt them and have a massive load on, but I just think the American Mike will go and win this. But it'll be interesting to see how the Mullins horse go. And I think the one thing with regards to the bumper, you want these top horses that are at the top of the market and get all this hype to finish in the top 5, because you then go into next season thinking you've got a decent bunch of novice hurdlers. So we'll be looking ahead to that and seeing how that goes. But a lot of these are going to make really nice novice hurdlers. Do you agree, Mattie?
Yeah, and the thing is, with Niall's selection there, if you watch that race at Cheltenham, he's had to get stuck into him, and the horse has known he's had a race, where a lot of these haven't. Now listen, they might find bundles off the bridle, but you can go to races and you think, this has got plenty left in the tank, and as soon as you press that button, then there's nothing there. But this horse has been there, he's done it, he's been asked, and he's found some, so that's a good advantage to have going to Cheltenham.
Yeah, it's a really good race. And that's the way we're going to end the first part of our preview. We'll go for a 15-minute interval before we go into day 3 and day 4. We've got 8 races to preview over the next 2 days, but what we will do, have time at the end to give our handicap selections, if any, and we'll also give you time to ask a few questions to our panel as well. So if you do have any questions, get those prepared. Right, let's start on the Turner's Novices Chase. This is a Grade 1 over 2.5 miles, and Bob, Bollinger is your 10 to 11 favourite here. Galloping de Champ is 11 to 10. L'Homme Presse is 7 to 2. Brave Man's Game won't be going here, 9 to 2. Blue Lord, again, probably not going here, 7 to 1. Another one that's not going here, Riviere de Tel, 8 to 1. Auton Couleur, 10 to 1. Jungle Boogie, 10 to 1. St. Sam's 12 and 14 to 1, bar these. Bob Bollinger, the people's banker of the festival, unless Galloping de Champ turns up here, basically.
Yeah.
Mattie, I know you're a big fan of Galloping de Champ. You mentioned it in the first part of the preview that you really like him. Is he going to win if he comes in?
Yes, we'll win.
Simple.
Simple. Doesn't get any easier than that.
What don't you like about Bob?
Galloping's better.
Oh, well, that was easy enough.
He'll jump into sleep.
Right, okay.
Absolutely jump into sleep.
Okay, well, you talk about horses that jump other horses to sleep. What about L'Homme Presse in here? Do you think the horse is going to be found out? Because this horse is, in my opinion, one of the best jumpers I've seen all season. I mean, Brave Man's Game and this horse are exceptional. That Silly Isles run was ridiculous, and the form of that is coming out to be quite good. I mean, we saw Pic Dory come out and win the other day. He was third in that and absolutely destroyed by L'Homme Presse. Do you think just the horse might get found out here by the Irish?
Galloping has got too much toe for him. I like the horse. I think he should go Brown Advisory because I think he just gallops. I just think Galloping's got too much toe for him at the end.
Right. Okay. Jack, Bob Bollinger for you?
Yeah, it will be Bob Bollinger for me. I still think they should step Galloping de Champ up in trip, personally. I think what he did at Punchestown, if they did step him up in trip, I know his jumping is probably his biggest asset, but I'd like to see him probably stepped up in trip. I think he's better than Brave Man's Game, that's for sure. But the thing with Bob Bollinger for me is, yes, he's not as fluent over a fence as he was a hurdle, but his engine is something that I doubted last year going into the Ballymore, but his engine just seems to be too good for anything he comes up against. For a second, I thought he was actually going to be beat last time out, and Capodanno was going to do him, but time and time again, I see him not fluent, not as photogenic over his fences as a L'Homme Presse or a Galloping de Champ, but I think his engine's going to be too much up the hill. He's got the course form you want. He was destructive in that Ballymore last year. He travelled well. I think L'Homme Presse and Galloping de Champ will probably both take half length out of him at every fence. But I just think Bob Bollinger, going up the hill, I think, although he's not a luxurious price, I think he'll just sit off L'Homme Presse, he'll try and make all, and then probably take up after the last and hopefully show them both a clean pair of heels.
Yeah. Jack, my engine on a football pitch is unbelievable. But I cannot play football.
Oh,
for say, just get him half length at every fence over 2.5 and Cheltenham.
That's quite a few lengths.
That's...
Yeah, is anyone really that concerned with Bob Bollinger's jumping? Because he's been absolutely slated for this, but he has improved run from run with regards to jumping. A few skew-if jumps in the air.
But the thing is about the Bromhead is that he schools his horses really well. Loose schools them a load. If they're not natural by the time they go to the track, they're just not natural.
Listen, there's natural jumpers and there's
unnatural jumpers.
And there's horses that take a bit of time. Bob's one of those. Early doors, he wasn't natural. He got from A to B. Yes, he's improved. Galloping from day one, you cannot get this horse. I bet at home they've tried to get him to make a mistake, but he's just so sure-footed. He's got better feet than Fred Astaire. You probably don't know who Fred Astaire is, but but he was a really good dancer years ago. Michael Jackson. Yeah, better feet than Michael Jackson. Yeah, he's just. You cannot put this horse wrong. Yes, Bob has learnt his trade and he is getting better, but he's still not a patch on Galloping.
I mean, a lot of people mention Charlie Deutsch's name here, and I do think that Charlie Deutsch, he is exceptional, and he's becoming a better jockey year on year. I really like him, and he's on a horse here who I think is not getting enough respect in any of the preview nights that I've been seeing. L'Homme Presse, for me, is one of the better bets of the festival. I just think that he will steal lengths out of some of these horses, especially Bob. Bob's going to have to make up ground on L'Homme Presse. If Galloping goes here, he is a massive danger to L'Homme Presse, don't get me wrong. But if Galloping were to step up, I think L'Homme Presse is up there with one of the best bets of the festival. No, I know you're a big fan.
Massive fan. If I could pick one horse in the festival ride, it would probably be him. I think he's just an absolute... He looks a dream spin.
Quotes. Everyone gets shocked when you make that. So one horse you'd like to ride at the festival at the moment, you say that L'Homme Presse would be
emphasis to the situation, but yeah,
he's not Shishkin, Honeysuckle. You've gone for L'Homme Presse.
Honestly, I was there.
The youth of today.
Naive. Wait, is that price? Sorry, I just checked prize money and I'm going to change that. No. But I watched him there day around Sandown. Sandown's a very tricky ridden it, railways.
Yeah.
Like a take jump and you can't put a foot wrong rounder. And comparing it to an Irish track, yes, you have to jump the fence really well on Leopardstown. But I think the trickiness of the back straight in Sandown would play more to horse. If a horse can jump the back straight in Sandown the way Houlihan Press does, it's going to be exceedingly exceptional around Cheltenham, I hear. And at 7-2 compared to evens, I always think like personally he'd be done. I'd be going for in the race.
And Doichi,
He's a horse do.
he's a legend. He's a horseman. He's had his trials and tribulations, but he's come out the other side, and
he's honest to God.
Just quickly,
Nicest lad.
Just quickly, lads, what is it like going towards those railway fences? Because when I watch, I hold my breath.
I don't know. I close my eyes.
yes, I'm the same. Yeah, I've never seen a fence in 20
Never
years.
seen him.
Just let the horse get on with it. They jump a hell of a lot better.
It's not imposing. It's just you just know that part of the race, those 3 jumps coming up so quickly mean a lot of lengths. If you meet 3 of them wrong, game over. At that part of the race, if you meet them correctly, suddenly you're gone from dropped in, relaxed, 3 good jumps, and you're there without any energy. And like the best horse showed out probably beside the Grugy. He's definitely on the shortest distance between the 3 fences, I think, on calculations on like the next 16 strides over savage distance, just because he's so good. And that is lethal around there. I think jumping also plays a massive part in Cheltenham, and I think it can be a lethal fact in La Presse.
Yeah, I definitely. I think that the Thursday, it seems like one of those days where there's a lot of good races on the card and a few sort of decent challenges in all the races. And we will move on to a race where there probably isn't many challenges to the favourite with Bankerho or Alaho, whatever you want to call him in here. He's the 8 to 13.
That is horrible.
Sorry,
Bankerho.
yeah,
Goodness
I know.
me.
I'm going to slated in the comments on YouTube for that one. Ennigamine is 5 to 2. Shouldn't be going here, although a lot of people in saying this. Aplutar 6 to 1, Chacun Poursoir 7s, Conflated 8 to 1, Chambleu is 8, Fakidoudery, Janadil and Tornado Flyer, they're 10 to 1, and you're looking at 12 to 1 bar those. Maybe we might get one that we all agree on here, but I'm not sure we will. But Alaho, banker of the whole meeting, Matty.
Yeah, I think he is banker. What he done in the race last year. Do you know what? I'd love to see a Plutard running this.
Really?
Yeah, I really would. Yeah.
Why? Why would you want him
Because you're
in
going to win a
that?
Gold Cup.
Oh, we'll get on to that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But you're not going to win a Gold Cup. I think you'll be better off stepping in back in drip.
Okay. Interesting to hear.
But as you say, they won't run in the same race because Alaho's
Alaho's going to win.
Yeah.
Simple. Jack, big Alaho fan.
Yeah, he's definitely the banker of the week. Look, if he puts 80% of the performance of last year, I still think he wins. They're probably going to go from the front. He brushed aside Fakidoudery last time out, who's gone on to win a below par Ascot Chase, but nonetheless still a grade run. I think Conflated is very interesting, stepping back in trip from the Irish Gold Cup. I think it would be nice to see Chambleu run a big race, but of course he's had such a long time off since the Charlie Hall. So it'd be nice to see Chambleu run a big race for Dan Skelton. Huge Dan Skelton fan, obviously, as I am. But look, you can't look past Alaho.
Yeah, no, it really is difficult to do so. And I think Alaho's probably the bank of the meeting. He did it last year in a really good style and has done everything right this season. I was hoping that we'd have everyone agree here. Now, I think that, Niall, you're probably going to agree, but you have got one at an each-way price, and it's the one that Gordon Elliott wants to send to a Gold Cup, but yet Michael O'Leary wants to go to the Ryanair. I'm not sure who's got the most sense there in regards to horses, but I'm pretty sure it'd be Gordon Elliott. But yeah, you think he's a decent each-way chance against Alaho?
Yeah, look, going purely from a punter's perspective, not I'm a punter, I'm a jockey, just to make sure, but I'm giving advice here. At 4 or 6, it's not the best price to be taken on. Yes, you're backing a winner, but you're not making much money. I think what Conflated is 8 to 1. In or around that, and look, I'd rather make at least above evens for a bet. But yeah, Alaho absolutely devastating around her last year. Class spin, and looks his race to win, like, really.
Yeah. Matty, just quickly, do you think Aplutar would beat Alaho over 2.5 if he came here?
I'm not saying if he ran in that race he'd win. I don't think he can win a Gold Cup, which we'll talk about later on. I don't think he can win a Gold Cup, so I think you're better off stepping him back. Can he beat Alaho? No, but I think he's got more chance getting on Gold Cup. I don't think, after watching last year's Gold Cup, I don't think you can win a Gold Cup. So, you could maybe give Allaho a race. That's my opinion, yeah.
But also looking at the race, last year Allaho had it all from the front. This year we've got Eldorado Allen looking into the race, who looked very good around Newbury, which is a flatter track, which takes a lot more pace to get to the front and travel on. So he's going to be taken on up front, which might make a difference, but it'll be a different story.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Look, I think a lot of people in the room are going to have Allaho in their multiples, trebles, doubles, whatever. He's going to be really tough to beat on the day. Let's go on to, in my opinion, the question mark race of the festival. It's the Stayers Hurdle, the 3:30 there. It's over 3 miles, a Grade 1. I will just quickly add that a lot of the lads from Pagham Cricket Club here are actually going to be going on the Thursday, so no pressure. I hope we found them a few winners.
Where are we going? Guinness Village?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I'll meet you in there.
Matty's going to be there as well.
I'll definitely be going hunting
Niall
that
will
day.
have a ride the next day, so he's not going to be able to drink. But look, it's a really, really interesting race. Flooring Porter's 3-1, Classical Dreams 4-1, Time Hill is 4-1, Champ 9-2, Paisley Park is 6-1, Asterion Forlange 8-1, Royal Kahala 8-1, and 10-1. Bar these in here. God, where do I start in this race? There's so many horses you could talk about. Jack, do you want to talk about last year's winner first?
Yeah, of course. Flooring Porter. Now, going into last year, I was trying to pick holes in him left, right, and centre. First of all, it's a very, very tricky race, but I was very sceptical. He was as keen as anything at Leopardstown. Jumped to his right and idled a little bit, but wandered about in front. But I think he's just out of the front contenders in the market. I think he's got the least holes to pick. Time Hill, of course, hasn't really done too much wrong, especially at Cheltenham. Classical Dream is just so hit and miss for me. I couldn't really trust how consistent he's going to be, especially when there's as many people as there's going to be at Cheltenham. I'm not too sure that's probably going to play to his strengths. But look, I know Classical Dream stole 8 lengths at the start of the Christmas hurdle.
But if you feel about Classical Dream being a bit of an issue by being hit and miss, how do you think about Flooring Porter? Very similar horse.
Yeah,
I agree with this.
This is the complete thing for me, but he proved me wrong last year, and I think that the Stayers last year was what's kind of proved to me this year that he can go and do it again. He's got the course form. As I say, I mean, the Christmas hurdle, I was so reluctant to want.
There's no people in Cheltenham last year.
Exactly, yeah, I know. I think it is.
This year there's about 8,000, and lads from Pagham as well.
Yeah, the lads from Pagham are going to make a lot of noise. Probably trying to stop. I think a lot of them are a big fan of Paisley, so they'll be trying to stop Flooring Porter trying to win this. So
I just can't back any of the British here. I know Paisley Park, of course. I know Paisley Park was Rick Brown from the beginning, but I can't really trust that piece of form. Champ, I mean, he's an absolute nutcase. I love him, but he's an absolute nutcase. Look, he probably should have won last time out at Cheltenham if he was going to win this, but he was so impressive in the long walk. So, I mean, I wouldn't probably put anyone off backing him. Look, for me, it's just an absolute mess of a race. Time Hill as well has to be respected. Was 4th in the Albert Bartle, and watching it back, he probably should have won the Albert Bartle that day. Richard Johnson probably would want to have that ride again. But look, Flooring Porter, I thought his second last time out, I think he was given Danny Mullins gave him a great ride that day. He kept on and kept on. Classical Dream, a lot was made of those 8 lengths which he stole at the start. I'm not too sure there was that much of a issue with it personally. I think Flooring Porter, though, going back to Cheltenham, I know the crowd is a little bit of an issue. I just think he has the least holes to pick out of the front of the market.
Okay, yeah. Before we get on to Paisley Park, I'm going to give away this mug courtesy of Hacked Up Horse Racing Gifts. I'll ask a question for it with regards to Paisley. Who finished second to Paisley Park?
Oh, mate, I had that each one.
That was the quickest answer.
In the 2019 Stayers Hurdle. Yeah, go on. Who was third? Houlihan the Machine. There we go. I mean, he deserves the mug for that. I mean, at the moment
Sam Spinner and Houlihan.
we've got the cash from the raffle in it. We've got the cash for the raffle in it, so you can't have that. But you can have the mug at the end for winning that. And honestly, the lad at the back there, he's probably one of the biggest fans of Paisley as well. So that's ideal. Mattie, there's plenty of stories at the festival. We love a story at the festival, and this is going to be massive. Andrew Gemmell, he's put so much into the game. It's actually a shame he wasn't there the last day. Obviously, he was undertaking surgery at the time, and it was a shame that he didn't get to see his horse win in the style that he did. It was so dramatic the way he came and won it. Ruby Walsh said I'd pull him up after a couple of hurdles, and he was proven wrong. Genuinely, I mean, you've put this horse up, I think, as an each-way chance. Can he go and win this?
Yes, he can. He looked like the Paisley Park of old. Barry Fenton has always stuck by the horse. He was obviously good jockey in his time. Emma Lavelle's partner now. Spoke to him about a few months ago, saw him at the races, and he said, he's like, everyone's knocking this horse. He said, but don't write this off. And that was before Chamonix won. Yes, Flooring Porter, second last time out. It was his first run, so he's entitled to be keen. He would have run the freshness out of him. You can't sort of disregard him. Again, Gavin Cromwell. And Champ, he's just, he's frustrating. The RSA, how has he won it? There's clearly an engine in there. He doesn't jump fences. It's a bit of a funny race, the Stayers, because if you look back, they're all sort of disappointing chasers. They don't jump great. These are all potentially Gold Cup horses. Listen, I'm not taking anything away from Big Bucks. What he done in this race was phenomenal. But why did he do it? He couldn't jump a fence. It's just simple as that. So you've got so many sort of disappointing chasers, and any one of these can win on their day. But I'm going to go with Paisley just because I think he's a great... I think now, at 6 to 1, I think he's a great each-way price. I really do.
Yeah, he could be an each-way bet to nothing. I fancy him to win here as a win bet. But Niall, yourself, Paisley fan?
Massive Paisley fan. Massive horse, yeah. Really liked... I love the way how the horse is coming out back for a win, which you can't say about many horses at the top of the market by himself and Royal Cal and Sporting John in the first 6, is it? That's a massive boost for a horse's ego, and this horse runs on ego. You saw how he didn't want to do it really early hours, but I think coming out back for win, it really supported him well. Also, fair shout to Time Hill. Hobbsy's horses and Hobbsy's team are very optimistic of his horse's chances. He's a really consistent horse. He is. Bars running all tie, he's a very consistent horse.
Yeah, I think Paisley Park's going to win this. I think Time Hill is the main danger to him. I think that his run at Ascot was very, very good, and I think he's going to come on a lot. They kept the horse away. And if you go back to his Albert Bartlett form, like Jack was talking about, it is very good. And he probably should have won that day. So he'll be the main danger, Time Hill. But I think Paisley Park, it's the story of the festival, and you just love to go and see him win. I'm sure the atmosphere there, if he was staying, you see it, especially on the ITV cameras. They have that turn into the bend, and his head just slowly pokes into shot, and you know that he's coming. It's just whether he can do it in time, but I think he can this year. I think he's going to be back, and it will be the story of the festival. Let's get into the race, that probably my least favourite race of the week, actually, so we won't actually go into it in too much detail, but this is the Mayor's Novice Hurdle, the 450 on the Thursday. It's a 2-mile grade 2. Brandy Love is your 5-2 favourite. Dino Blue is 3-1. Allegory Devassi is now out of the festival, but 7-2. Party Central, impressed at the Dublin Race Festival, 5-1. LA Bell not going here either, I don't think, 6-1. Grangy 7-1. Impervious is 8-1. 9-1. Bar these in here. Like I say, lads, I don't want to talk about this race for too long before we move on to the Friday. Mattie, a quick selection from you in here.
Well, I picked one. You said me had a chip in its leg, a bone.
Yeah, Allegory Devassi.
And when you asked me for another selection, I was carrying a 6-foot pane of glass up some stairs, which is not great for a 2-foot fella.
You weren't bricklaying?
No, not bricklaying. So I just put Dino Blue. I don't know what it's done because I haven't really had a look, but there you go.
If you want to punt blindly here, listen to Mattie Batchelor.
Responsibly, of course.
God, yeah. Superb. Niall in here for yourself. I think you like one, I think 8-1 Impervious.
I can't find Donald Blue here though.
Nah, right, okay.
Look, we'd all love to see Brandy Love win. It'd be a great slogan for Cheltenham Rest Festival. But he knows. But the horse I'm going for is Imperious.
Impervious, yeah. That's it.
Colin Murphy coming back to train after a few years off. Used to train Brave Inca. Big Zeb, many a great horse when I was growing up. Knows time of day. This horse is coming back to the Mayor's Novice Hurdle after running the Open Novice Hurdle in Ireland, Royal Bond. So she's come back into the Mayor's. I think she does have a good chance at 8-1. She does. It's an open race, and I just think there's a lot of pros going for hurdlers.
I think by the way we've previewed this race, I think you can tell that we're not massive fans of it. Jack, yourself in here?
I'm going against the trend. I actually think this is quite a good race. I'm quite looking forward to this.
I genuinely, I don't.
He knows bleeding.
This is the worst race of the festival. If I had to take one race away from the festival, I'd take this away over the Fox Hunters.
I'll take the cross country.
Champion bumper.
Honestly, yeah. But what's your opinion on this then?
Oh look, I mean the Irish have won it the last 6 years. I mean since its inception into the festival. So of course I won't be going for an Irish horse. I'll be going for one of the British horses. Brandy Love, look, she's an absolute nutcase, isn't she? Watching her last time out when she was second to Allegory de Vassy, she went out of shot going left. And if she does run straight, she probably has a great chance. Diana Blue was very impressive on debut. Party Central comes from the Handicap at the Dublin Racing Festival, which has a great record for this race. Of course, Tell Me Something Girl finished behind the winner there last time out, but has a £5 penalty for that win from a Handicap, which I think is a little bit harsh, if I'm being honest. But look, I'm a big Dan Skelton fan, and I think Nurse Susan hasn't really done too much wrong so far. She's a big, imposing mare who loves to jump. I've been very impressed with her since her debut win at Carlisle, of all places. She then won, again, without coming off the bridle at Leicester, and ran into a Love Envoy at Lingfield on heavy ground. And it did play into Love Envoy's hands that day. Now, Love Envoy's, of course, gone on to win a Grade 2 next time out. When everything went wrong, she was so keen towards the start. I think they were very disappointed with her that day, but she still won it in good style. Love Envoy's stamina told that day. Now, I do think Nurse Susan has a good chance. I think she's a little bit overlooked. Of course, everyone's going to look towards the Irish, but I think she's a decent easy-way play.
Agree, and Dan Skelton thinks she's got everything. She stayed on really well last day, and you're going to want that in this race here. Again, they'll go off like the absolute clappers. I mean, I'd go with one here, Mighty Blue for the Joseph O'Brien yard. Again, this isn't a confidence selection at all. If I had to pick one, it'd be this horse. She could be absolutely anything, really. Has raced once and was unseated the rider, but looked like the horse was going well that day. And I think they do think a bit about this horse, and a horse maybe for the future. But look, if I had to pump one each way, it'd be this one here. But I'm being a bit like Mattie and punting this blindly, to be totally honest. So that would be the way that I'd be going. But Mighty Blue would be the one, 16-1. Nurse Susan, I do think, has got a good chance for Jack. He's been on about this horse actually from about December onwards. So I think that horse could play a part into the places in the mare's novice.
If you fancy Jacks, you have to look at Love Envoy as well.
Yeah, I do agree. I think a road.
Do we know if she? I don't know. Is she 100% going here? Do we know? I don't know if anyone knows if she's 100% going here.
I'm not sure, but it'd be. Listen, it's.
Got Dave Cross's number.
Oh God, yeah, I have. I deleted it ages ago. Yeah, like Noel Feely, he's got his syndicate, and they're really running well. And this mare's done nothing wrong. She's won. And you say, Jack, if you give your filly a chance, you've got to give her a chance as well.
100%. I think she just wants the heavy ground. I'm not sure.
Possibly, yes. Possibly, yeah. That could just catch her out. But yes, it's as I said earlier. I think the Irish are so dominant in the mare's field. It's hard to look beyond them.
And it all goes back to breeding.
Of course it does. Yeah.
I love breeding.
Pedigree.
What, personally? Or?
No. Just a pedigree man myself.
Relax, Brandy loves Jer.
Right, let's go on to the Friday, lads. Well, this is going to be a good race to preview. This is the Triumph Hurdle. It's the 130, 2 mile, Grade 1. Let's give away one more pair of socks, and the question will be, who was JP McManus's only winner at the Cheltenham Festival last year? Oh, even the lads over here are stuck. I'll give a clue and then someone will literally shout it. JP McManus's only winner at the festival last year. What was the horse's name? Ends in house. There we go. Right, easy. Right, the Triumph Hurdle. The Triumph Hurdle betting looks like this. Vauban is 7-4. Pied Piper 5-2. Field Door is 11-2. Porticello for the Gary Moore stable. We'll get more on that in a second. Is 6-1. Night Salute 10-1. Ilete Tom is 11-1. Dr. Parnassus is 12-1. Icarda Len is 12-1. 16-1. Bar these. This is a hell of a race. It really is. And if we're ever going to buck the trend of a horse going from the Triumph to win potentially a champion hurdle next season, we might actually see it in here. Niall, the one person we need to hear about here is from you, because I'm sure you've ridden this horse in the Gary Moore stable. I'm sure you know plenty about this horse. Do you think he can beat the Irish?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. I mean, well, does soft ground have to be key to this horse at all?
No. No, I think if you look, I've ridden the horse. He's a really fine moving horse. He handles heavy ground because he's a very good horse, not because he needs it. I think he's. Do you
think he's better on good ground?
Or
do you think he does prefer the soft?
We'll find out. I wouldn't say I couldn't say a certainty, but I just think he's quite a fine moving horse, which suggests he would like a sound surface. I think we're going to get, by the time Friday comes round, it'll be tacky ground. Do you know what I mean? It won't be good ground. No matter, it never really is rounder on a Friday. And look, the horse has done nothing wrong. He won his first time out in France. He won for us last twice, first time out, and then second enough twice. Today he was second, nothing went to plan. We'll hold our hands up. He just fits the profile of a horse that when he's sitting him, you just don't think he's a juvenile.
Right.
He's a big, strong, imposing horse. He's one you really enjoy riding. It's like he reminds me as your favourite horse.
Of Goshen.
Of Goshen.
Don't say it.
He's a
No,
strong,
honestly,
strong-bodied.
I can see this. This is the.
He's a strong-bodied horse. Even
I
though
can
he's
see
a bit
this
taller
happening.
than Goshen, he's quite a strong-bodied individual, and I think he's got a very good chance.
He hasn't just got Jamie Moore on his back. He's got Goshen on his back in this race here, and trying to get the justice for him. The Irish do look very good. I actually think that I do like Porticello, but I think Phil Dorr might turn the form on Vauban from the Dublin Racing Festival. I think the race was run at a bit of a dawdle. I think a faster pace is going to see Phil Dorr to better ability. Jack, let's go to you. I'm sure you're going to like one at the top of the market. Who would it be?
Look, I think Vauban was pretty flattered last time out. It was a bit of a mess for a race. I don't think they went at a good early pace, and I think he pretty much just quickened up the straight. I think if they go at a truer gallop in the Triumph, I think he's definitely going to be susceptible to Phil Dorr reversing that form. But I just can't get Pied Piper's last run at Cheltenham out of my head. I was actually there watching it, and I couldn't quite pick my jaw off the floor. I mean, he kind of made an okay bunch of juveniles look like a terrible bunch of juveniles. Now, of course, he got the better of Vauban. On that day, Vauban obviously should have won if he didn't clatter into the last. I just think Pied Piper's taken a bigger step forward on his second run than Vauban did. I know Vauban travelled like an absolute dream and kicked past Phil Dorr in good style, but I think Pied Piper, he's definitely an unknown. It'd be interesting to see who Davy Russell rides as well. I'm not sure if he'll go the way of the market with Pied Piper or Phil Dorr, but I'd love to be with Pied Piper. I am with Pied Piper, but when I was at Cheltenham on that day, there's one thing that sticks in my head. And after the race when Pied Piper won, I managed to actually grab a chat with Gordon Elliott as he was coming up the chute. And I was asking him, of the two, who does he prefer kind of thing. And he looked me dead in the eye and definitively told me Phil Dorr is the better of the two.
Agreed.
And I can't quite get that out of my head, seeing him tell me Phil Dorr is the better of the two and walk away as if he's not even said anything. So for Pied Piper to be ahead of him in the market, it would hurt me for Phil Dorr to do it, but I'm going to be with Pied Piper.
Yeah, I think the race itself, I mean, listening to especially Jamie Cobb and talking about these horses, he said Pied Piper's probably the classiest of the two, but Phil Dorr is probably the one that's more workmanlike, but probably would suit a Triumph, I think. Like, you need a stayer, I think, that could potentially go to a Triumph, Mattie. I mean, do you like one of the British in here? Because I know you're a big fan of Night Salute if he comes here.
Yeah, I do. Who did Pied Piper beat at Cheltenham?
Isio, what's Gary's horse? Moulin Clermont.
Mocco de Vassi.
No, Moulin Clermont as well. Who's
Yeah, but his run against
Mocco.
Mocco de Vassi. What beat that the other day in the Adonis?
Nice loot.
There you go.
He would have lost to Teddy Blue if he jumped last.
Eh?
He would have lost to Teddy Blue if he jumped last.
He has done
Who
nothing.
did Teddy Blue beat in France in the Flash?
Who?
Vauban.
Yeah, but he didn't jump.
No, but I can tell you about two horses. Like.
But listen, if Night Salute was trained by anyone else, by Milton Harris, he'd be a lot shorter priced.
Agreed. 100% agreed here.
He's done
He should not be 10 to 1.
He's done
if you want to
nothing
sign up Star Sports right now, 10 to 1's a cracking.
He's hardy, he's tough, and I'll go back to it as well. He's a 4-year-old, and he's been there. He's fought blow to blow. He's had good races. He's done it the hard way, and he's tough. And at 10 to 1, I think he is a massive each way bet. I agree with you on Phil Dorr. The race didn't run to suit. He could turn the form round. But I really do like this horse, Night Salute. The other day in the Adonis, he's turned in and he's got Paddy jumping up and down on his back and he still won.
What won he down last year, though?
I haven't got a clue.
It's not
I don't know
the
what I done
best
yesterday.
race, really.
No, I think it's going to be very
Who won it
interesting.
last year?
Tritonic.
So, no.
And neither of them ever featured in Triumph Turtle.
Tritonic.
Buck the trend.
Tritonic was actually in that Great Wood that was won by Adagio was in there who came second, so another boost to the form there.
Porticello he looks a lovely, lovely horse, but I think he still looks raw, and I think he will improve going over a fence. I don't know. I was chatting to Gary, saw him at Fontwell, and he said correct me if I'm
Yeah,
wrong.
he is a chaser, but
He's done a lot of schooling with. He's been frustrated with his jumping, but he's improved, and I think he'd be a better. I think.
Bias thing for juvenile, it'll have to be a strong horse.
Oh
to
yeah,
win Triumph
definitely. Yeah, I
Hurdle.
agree.
And
Yeah,
think he
yeah. I
fits
just
the
think
profile.
I think you'll see more of him
he
in the
will be
future.
definitely a future horse. Yeah.
I mean, the one thing I'll say about Gary Moore's yard, and I love the yard, absolutely love it, but I'd say that he has...
Come there tomorrow morning for a knockout.
But I'd say that he has so many quirky horses. They've all got this little quirk about them that you kind of... You look and go, God, I wish they jump better, or they jump left, or they jump right. Like, how can we sort this out? But we've got Goshen. We've got a similar horse in Porticello who's
Got me
has
riding
had
him
a
home.
I think you said to me the other day, you said, like, if they weren't to come to us, I mean, if they didn't have their quirks, they'd probably end up at Willie's. So it is simply...
That's right, though. You go like Side of Grouchy. No, I'll tell you the same. A lot of people went to go and look at him in France and turned him down, and they took him. And what's it? Queen Mother, Tingle Creek. The list is. Sometimes you take chances on these horses because you haven't got owners in your yard just to sign a check and let them fill it out. You can't do that.
Like, even if you go into Irish Point of Points and that, like, which are one of the main funding of English racing, like, for good horses. Like, you have Irish Point of Point lads riding them out at home. They all know how good horses are. You've got schooling races back in Ireland. The Irish do know where the better horses are. So by the time to go to a sales ring, they know which ones to buy to do. So look, what we do very well on horses. So I think we do well at him.
Yeah, and the more stable they're having the best season they've had, and I think it's a stable that's only improving. I think they're going to get plenty of good horses. It'd be nice to see them have a big winner on the week. Let's go on to the Albert Bartlett Novices Hurdle, otherwise known as the Potato Race. 250 there. It's a 3 mile hurdle over. It's a grade 1, and Hillcrest is 7-2 favourite, along with Manila Crooner, who's 7-2. Ginto 9-2. Journey with Me 6-1. Manila Kukuna is 6-1. God, it's going to be a commentator's nightmare if they both go. Hollow Games 9-1. Chantrose is 9-1. The Nice Guy 9-1. 10-1. Bar these. I don't know if we've had confirmation yet. I don't think we have, but Hillcrest, we don't know if he's definitely going here. Right, I don't know if it is a sure thing, but Niall, I think you were there that day. Jack, you were there the day that he ran at Cheltenham. Unfortunately, he fell. But Jack, I'll start with you. How big is this horse?
He's humongous. He is absolutely humongous. You can't actually estimate how big he is. He's absolutely massive. Is the mic on? Hello. There we are. Are we okay? Swapping? All right. Yeah, he's absolutely humongous. I mean, at Cheltenham, he was obviously very unlucky. He's very classy. I mean, last time out, the time of the race was really impressive. But the Albert Bartlett, to me, as you called it, the potato race, I mean, 7 of the last 8 winners went off at a double-figure price. Now, I understand why Manila Crooner's favourite. He hasn't really done too much wrong, but I just think he's going to give away a few lengths at a hurdle. He did it at the second last time out, when finishing second to Manila Kukuna. I just don't know how strong the form of that race actually is, and if he does make a big mistake again, I'm pretty sure he's probably going to be found out. Now, the two at the prices, there's actually two at prices that I'm going to look at. One's actually in the Racing Ahead magazine of Bardenstown Lad. And one thing's for certain, he's going to be off the bridle so early. But look, he's been very, very progressive over hurdles. I mean, when he actually won at Cheltenham, he looked like he was in a lot of trouble. Sean Bowen gave him a great ride to actually get him home that day. And then at Musselburgh last time out, again, he probably drifted in play, but I mean, found a lot and won by 9 lengths at the end. I think he's probably going to be there or thereabouts. And the other's Eric Bloodaxe, who I think's been very much forgotten about. At about 20-1, I think he is now. He's definitely been forgotten about. I mean, if you remember last year, Vanillier finished 10th of 13 in the Grade 1 at Leopardstown. He finished way out the back of the frame, but I mean, he's one of 2 horses to actually beat Fernie Hollow in Fernie Hollow's career. He beat him in a bumper. He's been very progressive until last time out. He finished second to Ginto over 2 mile 4. Yes, he was beaten 11 lengths, but I think that obviously wasn't his trip. He then won a Grade 2 over 2 miles 7. Now, if it is tacky ground on the day, I think he has a decent chance of getting through that ground, and hopefully for Joseph O'Brien can put in a bold display.
Right, yeah. Niall, Hillcrest, a selection from yourself if going here. He is one of those horses. I mean, a lot of people saying with these big horses that if they do make a mistake at the hurdle, it affects them more than these sort of smaller horses who can kind of get away with it on the odd occasion. I think Hillcrest was unlucky probably to fall at Cheltenham last day, but
He didn't fall, he fell off it.
well, I genuinely think he is one of the classiest horses I've seen this season over this trip, and it'd be exciting to see what he can do over a fence as well. What is it about him that looks so nice?
He looks like a chaser. He's a very tall horse. He looks at an out-and-out chaser, just by stowaway, pure old school breeding, going back to Jack here, loves his pedigrees. But look, he is the class horse in the race. He's done nothing wrong. In fairness, today he got unseated. He's nearly brought down he was. There's not much he could have done. But as you said, 7 of the last 8 winners have been double priced. So I'm gone for Hillcrest because he's the obvious choice to race. But at 21 or above is that Bally Griffin
he's a
Cottage.
decent price, yeah.
Of Dan Skelton's. I think he fits a nice profile of a horse that's battle hardened without having a tough season. Obviously won a lot of Irish Pint of Points, similar to Tommy's Oscar, and he's very nice today, last day in Lingfield. So I think at a big price, he could be a nice shout.
Yeah, Bally Griffin Cottage. He's been well backed, and I've seen a lot of talk. And Skelton also saying that he's really looking forward to this horse, and the assistant trainer even coming out saying that I wouldn't rule him out. He's now 16-1 with Star Sports. Mattie, another Hillcrest fan?
Yeah, Hillcrest. Yeah, I mean, he just looks a pure beast. I mean, everything looks big to me because I'm 2 foot, but he is just, as I say, he's chasing the making. He was unlucky at Cheltenham, Richard Patrick. He just got knocked after the hurdle, and he just lost that point of balance, and he was unlucky, but he went back to Haydock, and he just showed what he is. He's an absolute beast. Do you know what? A big price, Hollow Games, maybe a step up in trip might help him. Just think he's quite shrewd, old Gordon. He gave him the run last time, and he did get caught for second, but I think he's sort of saving him a little bit just to run a big race in this. And at 9-1, I thought each way was quite an interesting price.
Yeah, I think the owners are looking to split Ginto and Hollow
Yeah.
Games here, so it looks like Hollow Games probably is going to come here. I like Manila Crooner in here. I know the horse's favourite for the race, but I mentioned it earlier, but Journey with Me is probably my best bet at the festival. This horse actually finished in between Journey with Me and Kilcrut at the start of the season. It's probably Journey with Me's best performance this season. I'll still ignore that run last time, but the horse was staying on really well. Like Jack said, the horse has had issues with jumping. The last day, I think that the horse, at that second last, it did cost the race. I think the horse had a chance of potentially winning. I think Danny Mullins gave Manila Kakuna an absolute peach of a ride that day. But Manila Crooner, I think, an absolute stayer. That's all you need in here, and that's going to be the one for myself. The big one for the week. This is the Cheltenham Gold Cup. It is on the Friday, 3:30, 3.25 miles, Grade 1. Aplutar is your 3-1 favourite. Galvin 7-2. Manila Indo 5-1. Alaho not going to go here, 8-1. Protectorat's definitely going to go here, 8-1. Album Photo 10-1. Conflated 11s. Tornado Flyer is 12-1 and 14-1. Bar those. Matty, I guess we come to you first because we've got a favourite at the top of the market saying he can't win a Gold Cup.
No. Milano Endo, last year's winner, is, to me, he's just a better... He outstayed a Plutard last year. Was he going to not outstay him this year? Course and distance winner. He's won an Albert Bartlett. He finished second in an RSA that the freak, which is the champs, come and beat him. Last year's Gold Cup winner. He's got beat by Froden after a break. He's gone to Kempton. He's only gone to Kempton for one thing, and that's to get a run under his belt. Simple as that. Kempton will not suit this horse, and it didn't suit this horse. Cheltenham suits this horse. I cannot believe he's 5-1. I cannot believe he's 5-1.
What price would you make him in here? 11 4.
He's got to be either joint favourite or Plutard, or 2-1. I can't believe that he's a 5-1 shot and a Plutard is 3-1. He's outstayed him up the hill last time. That is simple.
Yeah. So you mean we'll have a 2-time Gold Cup winner in here? Course and distance. Everyone's saying
that extra 2 furlongs up that Gold Cup course. It takes a bit of getting. And that's why as I said earlier, Plutard, I'm not saying he doesn't stay. He stays. But Manila Endo is a better stayer.
Okay. Yeah, interesting to hear. Poor Niall, you actually like one of the English horses in here. A horse put up by, I think, price-wise as well, Tom Segal and Paul Keeley. It's the Skelton horse. It's going to be an interesting one here.
I'm in good company, so I am. Yeah, I like Protectorat. I was in Sandown today, won an Aintree. I know in the wrong course that day, but as long as it Harry Skelton, and they were delighted with how the horse ran, couldn't fault him, and he's been put away for the race, 7 years old, hitting the right age frame. Look, you can say horses for courses X, Y, and Z, but I like to see a horse in form. This horse's form is 2-2-1, 2-2-1, like, and it's he's one for me in the race. I think I'd love to see him win. I think the lads haven't trained their horses this year for Cheltenham. Usually you see lads go for winners in a season. This year, you see a lot of horses are being pinpointed for races. Like I said, Ballygriffin Cottage, straight for Adam Bartlett, him for the Gold Cup. I think it's a very well thought out plan.
Right, yeah, I agree with you. I think Protectorate's done absolutely nothing wrong, and is 100% definitely the best of the British in here. It's dominated by the Irish. Jack, you're one who actually tipped up somehow Tornado Flyer at 28-1 for the King George on our channel, and I feel like he's actually quite forgotten about horsing here at 12-1, just due to the fact that he's won the King George. He stays really well. Could he potentially be one of the ones in here that's going under the radar?
I think he needs the pacemaker like he had at Frodon in the King George. I'm not too sure they're going to go at that breakneck speed. I think he'll be able to get up the hill, that's for sure. But I think Mattie's hit the nail on the head there. Manella Indo at 5-1, I think is a cracking price. Happily Tard got outstayed by Galvin last time out when Galvin didn't get the clearest of runs as well. Rachel shut the door and Davey gave him a great ride that day. I love that Galvin's attitude is great. He showed it last year at Cheltenham. He battles and battles and battles, even when he was second to Frodon. He really did battle. He's as game as anything, but I just don't think he has the class of Manella Indo. Look, Henry de Bromhead has said this is going to be the target all year. This is his big race. We saw it last year. He was kind of a little bit iffy throughout the early parts of the season, but when it comes to spring and when it comes to Cheltenham, he shines. I mean, his run last time out in the Irish Gold Cup, I think, was a perfect prep run for this. And I just think at 5-1, he is the no-brainer in here.
Yeah, completely agree. I think Manila Indo is the one to beat in here. I do think Tornado Flyer is potentially a decent each-way angle. I generally do for the Mullin stable. I can see him running a really big race. I mean, we haven't mentioned Galvin too much in here. A horse who won the National Hunt Chase. We know this horse stays. What do we make of him? Who wants to say something on Galvin?
Listen, he clearly stays. He's a good each-way price, and say when people mention Gold Cup, a lot of people do forget there's that extra 2 furlongs, which you can see a lot of races, especially the Gold Cup, change, and you can get horses come to the second last and think, right, this is going to get place, and all of a sudden they hit that hill, that extra 2 furlongs, and you say Galvin does stay, and he could be interesting coming up the hill at the end.
I also think that the tacky ground might not suit him. I think the pick of his form's kind of been on good to soft ground. If it's a little bit tricky for him to get through, I don't think he's going to be seen to his best ability.
Okay. Does anyone in the room actually think that we could see a 3-time Gold Cup winner here, or potentially even see it as an each-way show? But Albin Photo. Albin Photo will place. A lot of people fancy him to place. So, okay. Sorry? Albin Photo to win? Sounds like a lot of people like it might be a man losing his money on the day, but it would be nice to see Albin.
Someone stop serving that man at the drinks at the bar. He's clearly had too much.
Right. Yeah, no, I don't. Again,
Also, the real question to ask is, who does Paul Town ride?
who does Paul Townend ride in this?
I think it has to be Albin Photo. I think the chance for 3 Gold Cups, surely he doesn't miss that. Surely.
You don't think he'll want to take up the King George winner?
No, absolutely not. I think he wasn't on him in the King George. I don't think he'll be on him.
I don't think you get the choice. I don't think you get the choice, to be honest. You can't jock him off after winning the King George. It'd be a bit harsh, and he's won 2.
It's only his nephew.
Yeah. He's won 2 Gold Cups on Albin Photo. He's Willie to say you're riding him, and it's a bit harsh to jock.
But Paul might say I'm number 1 jockey.
Yeah, I know, but you can't. I don't think you can desert a 2-time Gold Cup winner, and your man's won a King. It'd be harsh, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Ruby stuck a Cato Star in 1 year, and then
Ruby's Ruby though.
He's big.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. The jockey bookings will come out close to the time. Interesting to see who he's put up on. But yeah, you might be right. You might ride Albin Photo to try and get that 3-time Gold Cup winner. Last race we're going to preview before we go into our handicap selections and also any questions from the crowd and from our social media. This is the 450, the Mayor's Chase, 2.5 mile, grade 2. LMA is Mount Ida and LMA, they're your 5-2 joint favourites. Concertista's 11-4. Riviera tells 4-1. The Glancing Queen 9-1. Put the Kettle on his 10s. Zambella 10s and 11-1 bar those. Mr. Gary Young, who's given us he's given us the venue this evening. We do thank him for it. I'll give a round of applause, because he's done a great job on the bar as well this evening.
Yeah, well done, Gary. Only person didn't back it.
This man here, we went, I think it was in 2020, we went on a trip with Bagnall Cricket Club on the coach all the way to Cheltenham. This man could not stop banging on about backing Concertista in the Mayor's Novice. I don't know what price it was, around 4-1 that day, and everyone was on it, bar that man just there, like you said. But he nailed it bang on the head, and it was a hell of a day. Gary, we backing him again? Oh, we're definitely backing him again. Now, I really like Concertista.
What are you backing him for?
Oh, sorry. But Concertista, I do think, is one of the best bets on the Friday. And the reason I say this is due to the fact that, again, course form comes into play, but everyone seems to say that this horse jumps too low and is a bit of a risk, but I don't mind that with a horse over fences. Yes, it's heart in the mouth kind of stuff.
Yeah, you're not riding him, you're not.
Yeah. Yeah, Paul Town will be right. I'm sure he's used to it. But when they jump low like this and they're speedy at their fences, they do gain lengths. And if this horse can jump a fence, especially as they come down the hill, as long as she jumps well, I think she's going to win this.
You want him to jump long and low down the hill?
It's going to be. I'm not a rider, but
I can tell you one thing that might happen there.
But if you're going to fancy this horse, you're going to have to know that that's going to happen. It's going to be heart in the mouth stuff with her. But I just think that she is. I just think she's the classy horse in here. We see LMA, who came here last season, probably a bit unlucky not to win last year. Mount Ida is also a very good horse. I actually had this horse down potentially if going to the Gold Cup as a good each way shout, but they've decided here. But Concertista, for me, one of the best bets on the Friday with the course 4. I think she's a very speedy mare. And as long as she can jump those fences at Cheltenham, I don't know why people have been slating her jumping. I don't think it's been all that bad. She is quick at her fences and she'd be the best bet for me on the Friday. Mattie, yourself in here?
Tricky race, really. There's a number of mares that could win it. I do like Mount Ida. It's just, again, it was just sort of, you could give a case to so many, and then I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to stick with Willie and just go with him, really. I went through it and thought, that's got a chance, it's got a chance. And again, you was hassling me all week, and I just picked.
I know, I needed a selection.
You needed a selection, so.
And you've picked right. At least you've picked right.
Well, that's it.
I mean, no, you just slated the fact that I'm not going to make a good jockey because I'm going to go long and hard.
Make a brave one.
Long and low.
But the horse does jump low. But with these horses we could say it with hurdlers as well. When they do jump,
hurdlers when you hit them, they fall over.
But
chase fences don't.
But when they are quick, I say that horses can over jump fences in some ways, can be slow. This horse, I think, is just very quick at fences.
I'd rather it over jump than long.
No, leave him off.
LMA for yourself here. Last year, like I say, very unlucky.
Bumped into a very good mare last year, Conor Evie. She's actually bred locally to me. Going back bigger, she's bred in my town out of No Breers very well, and great win for her last year. Course form, horses for courses. And she's also Goshen's half sister. So
there we go. Yeah, I should be Timmy's horse. Goshen's half sister, and I'm not even touching the horse.
And doesn't hang right.
Oh yeah, exactly. Well, to be fair, she's a beautiful looking grey. She will go well again. Jack, Mount Ida. I have been a big fan of this horse. I think the horses that we saw last year, a stayer, stayed on really stoutly at Cheltenham last year. What are the thoughts this year?
For me, it's just a big toss-up between the front two in the market. I really can't have Concertista over fences. As you say, she gets in way too low. I think she's probably going to be found out here. I think LMA, as Niall said, that form of Corrievy last year couldn't have been boosted anymore. Of course, Corrievy going on to beat Envoy Allen and Monkfish next time out. But Mount Ida, look, everything went wrong that could possibly go wrong in the Kinmure last year. She jumped out to the right. She went to the back of the field by the sixth fence, but she still managed to do the business. She went 1,000 to 1, I think it was, in play. Look, I don't think she'll be able to get away with that this year, so that would concern me a lot. But I do think that she's very classy. She's shown it. She's still very progressive. LMA, I think, will probably come to the fore in the spring. Was very impressive last time out as well. I think it's a big toss-up between the two, but I think Mount Ida may just have the class over LMA.
Right, okay. And we'll get on now to the handicap selections. I know Jack's got a very hot fancy on the Friday for the last race. We'll get a couple off the gents at the end. Mattie, a couple for the handicaps this year.
I like Good Risk at All for the Coral Cup. Won at Ascot. Sam Thomas, great lad. Really.
Deutsch will be on board, yeah.
Deutsche, yeah. Him and Sam are good friends from Venetia days. Sammy's a great lad, and it's good to see him get some good horses. And for the Pertemps is the Fergal O'Brien horse, Ala Filippo.
Yeah.
Saw it run at Warwick, and yeah, I saw it run at Warwick. That's all I'm going to
And you were impressed?
So name. It had lovely colour, it did.
Yeah, it had a nice run round Warwick.
Well, not easy for you to say.
And I just thought it was very interesting. I just thought I think that had a good chance in the Pertemps, yeah.
Right, okay, there you go. A couple of sections from Mattie. Niall, are there any that we're going to expect from the Gary Moore stay? I mean, I know you've probably got some outside the Moore stay, but are there any that will be going to handicaps that could be quite exciting?
Look, I'd love to tell you about something we have got smuggled in here now, but honestly, Cheltenham these days, the question is if you get into the handicaps, because they're absolutely infiltrated with Irish horses. We hopefully have a nice bunch. Going for a handicap or a grade race might be that Larry. Great chaser, loves a stiff finish, loves a stiff track. That man there loves him to bits, George Gorman. He rides him out most days.
We've got George Gorman here tonight.
He's grinning so much. And yeah, his form this year has been nearly rock solid. Like, he ran up behind Fiddler on the Roof last same ground. He didn't like, even though Fiddler on the Roof didn't win it. It was for Askew won it. Yeah. But and if we're going for a handicap, when you asked me about handicap selection, I looked up one trainer and one trainer only, and that was Emmett Mullins.
Yeah.
And I looked at his entries, and he's got every horse entered in every race just to throw everyone off. But Winterfog 7-1 for the Pertemps.
We've seen it. We've seen this horse being tipped up absolutely everywhere on the previews. Winter Fog for the Pertemps is a very, very
Paul
popular
Byrne,
selection.
the owner, and Emmett Mullins don't miss.
There we go. Yeah, I think a lot of people very confident, and those who have heard Kevin Blake, it was his nap of the week actually at a good decent price. Jack, for yourself in here, I mean, first of all, talk about your horse on the Friday that you're really fond of and been given a really, really nice weight.
Where do we start with Langadane? Goodness me.
Everyone who backs, because Twitter are all over it, everyone's given up.
That's the thing that scares me. When social media are over a horse like they are Langadan for the Martin Pipe, it scares me. But look, last year you couldn't bump into anything more progressive than Galopin de Champs. He was 9 lengths clear of third. He was off 135 that day. He was also carrying a £5 penalty for winning the Imperial Cup. His reappearance last time out when he finished last of 6 at Taunton was as good a run as you can have, beaten 10 lengths in last. But look, I mean, he's been dropped £3 for that. He's only off 137, £2 higher than last year. And he's definitely going to get in. I mean, in the last 10 years, I think bottom weight's been between 126 and 136. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't get in. There may be an Irish good thing, whatever you want to say, that's probably going to come and beat him. The grade 1 horse in the making. But look, I mean, he's absolutely thrown in, isn't he, off 137. So I think he's got a mega chance. He's definitely been found out in the market. But yeah, again, I mean, he's 9-2, I think, with Star Sports, and I think he's going to be there or thereabouts. Will he run into something yet again? Who knows? But hopefully he can do the business.
Okay, anything else, or is that your main hope?
Oh, look, I mean, the Pertemps, I'm a big fan of both Alaphilippe and Winterfog. I mean, Winterfog, you can clearly see the reasons there with Emmett Mullins. As Niall says, he doesn't miss. But look, I'll be watching that one with a keen eye. But all hopes lead to the last race of the festival, I suppose. And you can kind of have hope till the end of the festival at least.
Yeah, and if you go on Star Sports at the moment, you can actually get the Next Gen Racing boosted double with myself and Jack. You can get Journey with me for the Ballymore Novice Hurdle and Langer Dan to win the Martin Pipe. It was 33-1. It's now 40-1. If you do sign up, it's a potentially a decent win bet there. It's one of mine and Jack's our stronger fancies of the week. So 40-1 is a fair price of getting on that. So do sign up to them for that. My handicap selections, it will be Mr. Coffee and the Kim Muir. This horse here, a lot of people are giving up with this horse, but if you look at the horse's form, he finished in between L'Empresse and Pictori the last day in the Scilly Isles. Those two horses are rated 150 plus, and we're now looking at a 137 rated horse who Nicky Henderson has said that, well, if he steps him up in trip, he's only going to look even better. So I just think he's thrown in off 137. I think he's gonna go and win the Kimura. I really do. I'm quite confident on that. And the other one away from the handicaps is the actual Fox Hunters. And it'd be so nice to see it. We talk about stories, but it would be unbelievable to see Bob and Co win the Fox Hunters for David Maxwell, because David Maxwell, the one thing about Maxwell is he can get slated all he wants, but this man gives so much to this game. Like, he genuinely does. He puts so much in. He owns the horse. He rides the horses. Got such a good association with Nichols. Look, you two lads on the end, you've probably met him plenty of times. Probably one of the nicest guys in the way. I mean, he's looking forward. He deserves his Cheltenham Festival winner, doesn't he?
Yeah, definitely. And listen, he puts his own money out of his own pocket. He buys horses. He rides winners. I know he got absolutely slated at Donny.
He did. Shame.
When he got beat. But you know what? It was one of those. He was travelling better than anything. He's gone on. And it was one of those races, I don't care who rode it, whether it was Ruby Walsh or David Maxwell. You'd come back in and you'd say, do you know what? I'd love to have another crack at that and ride a different race. But at that split second, he was going better than anything. He sent him on. You haven't got eyes in the back of your head. And watching the race, hindsight's a wonderful thing. You would have rode it differently. But he's done nothing wrong. But just because he's got a Mr. in front of his name, he works hard on his fitness. He puts a lot of money and he gets everything he deserves. And he's a real nice fella.
Yeah, he genuinely is. And listening to the Paul Nicholls Stable Tour, won their better chance of the week, Bob and Co. And I do agree, especially with the ground being a little better. I think the last day it was a bit heavy and it didn't seem to work out for him. Let's go quickly for our best bets. Nap next best and long shot potentially for the festival. Matty, down the end, we'll start with you. Your best bet, your next best, and your long shot.
Best bet is the Batchy treble, Honeysuckle, Shishkin, and Galloping de Champs.
Is that for the turn? Whoa.
Turners.
Turners. Okay, fine. Your next best?
My next best,
It's going to be an Indo, isn't it?
Millennium Indo.
Yeah, I knew it would be. And anything a long shot for the festival, potentially a handicap or maybe a double figure price.
No.
Oh, okay, right. Back the shorties all week. It's as simple as that.
That's it.
Niall, yourself, the best bet of the festival this year.
Shit. Best bet for the festival for me is Paisley Park.
Wow.
Get up, yeah.
There you go, Paisley Park, the best bet.
Bring your plug,
Everyone's a big fan here of that. Your next best, if you had a second best.
Next best, I'd have. Sure, next best, I'd have Stormy Ireland. I think
Stormy Island
she's
for the
strong
mares.
shout.
Okay. And I know potentially you might put up as a long shot, but Ballygriffin Cottage for the Albert Bartlett?
Yeah, Ballygriffin Cottage for
Yeah,
Albert
Albert
Bartlett.
Bartlett, okay.
Because, as you said, it's a race that throws up a long shot, and he could be the one.
Okay, perfect. Jack, your nap in next best in the long shot.
It's probably gonna pay me to say it, but I think Langadam will win the Martin Pipe, so that's gonna be my nap of the week. Next best is gonna be Queensbrook for the Mares Hurdle, taking Niall on there, and also the long shot I'm gonna take Niall on in the Albert Bartlett with Eric Bloodaxe.
Okay. Yeah,
The best man win.
my nap of the week, it will be Journey with me in the Ballymore. I think he's going to go and win that. My next best, I'm probably going to say, will be, L'Empresse in the Turners.
Sam.
Oh, I knew I'll get slated for that. And my long shot of the week, I will go with, let's just do it. Bob and Co in the Fox Hunters. There we go. Go on the Maxwell.
Go on the Maxwell.
Right, before we end, how long we got? We've got about 8 minutes. Are there any, before we get into the social media questions, there's a couple of questions from the crowd. Yes.
I've actually got 3, if that's all right.
We've got 8 minutes.
So, first of all, to Niall, with Editor de Gite, does he go to the Champion Chase or the Grand Annual? Which is the preference? Obviously, you've ridden him before the last day, which is your...
Wait, so the question was there, just for those who are watching online, is Editor de Gite, where does this horse go, the Champion Chase or the Grand Annual, and what do you think of his chances in either?
No certain decision has been made yet, obviously, because, look, Champion Chase is a hottest Champion Chase as there's been and in a while. I'd love to see him go there because I think he's got a great chance of running a proper big race there. But also in the back of your mind, he's still have a good mark for Grand Annual. He's 150 something plus, but it's going to be a compressed handicap this year. And again, I think the horse has got great form around the track. And I think whatever race he goes for, he's still a big price for both races. I'd like to think he'll go for the Champion Chase, but I still think there's no certainty made, but I think he's got a great shout. If he goes to Grand Annual, I'd love to claim £3 off him.
Oh,
I won't though.
No certainty as of yet, but if Niall ends up claiming £3 off Editor Jeep and potentially a bet there.
Speed will be broken.
You got another one?
Yeah, the second one is in the potential. Obviously, you've got Side of Burley, who has won it twice. And you've got a claimer taking off 7.
Very true.
Back into action. Has he won it twice purely because of Geraghty, or does he have a chance now?
So the question is, Jack might want to answer this one, but Cider Burley in the Pertemps, obviously a horse who's done it twice. I'd say that Barry Geraghty is the one you need to lift this horse home, but has been announced.
Rob James is a very good jockey.
Yeah, he is.
He's a point jockey. He's not a young £7 claimer. He's a seasoned point jockey who'll be really professional.
A £7 claimer.
He's a very good value for that claim. He is very, very good value for that claim. Whether puts him in there at an older age, I wouldn't know. I'd rather winter fog, but I wouldn't be turning you off him for the £7 claimer. Jack,
what do you reckon of Cider Burley's chances?
I just think now he's 10. I just think he's regressing somewhat. Obviously, Barry Geraghty was a great asset to have on board. I just think there's probably going to be something like a Winter Fog or an Alaphilippe who's just too well handicapped for him. He may run his good race again and maybe finish a 5th or a 6th, but I think probably his time's gone and he may be on his way out.
Okay, an online question that we've got here is a lay of the festival, horse that you will not, you'd want to lay off. Mattie, who would be the lay of the festival this year? Who's not going to be winning?
We can't lay. We can't.
Oh yeah, you can't. Yeah, no. Who won't be winning?
Plutard.
Who do you think? Plutard. Right. Okay. Jack, yourself?
Mine would have to be Facile Vega in the Champion Bumper.
Facile Vega. Okay, yeah, I probably agree with that with regards to that one. And
what do you think? What do you think?
What?
What's your lay?
What, you want my lay? Bob Ollinger. Bob Ollinger won't be winning the Turners this year. That's all I'm going to say. And as Jack and I have both agreed, for K9 Partners, we will do a Next Gen Racing Lucky 15 for charity. We'll do a £2 win bet or £1 each way, depending on what the prices are looking like. For the charity, all put a selection in, depending on price. You might want a good price for the charity. You've given us your nap, but who would you like to put in for the charity Lucky 15? Galopin de Champ for the Turners. Niall, if you pick one. Porticello.
Yes.
Don't be so stupid. It's a charity bet. Just put the charity bet down the pan. You got to think with your head, not your heart. No, he's going to change that. He's going to change that.
We'll come back to him. Jack, yours?
I'm going to think with heart. It's going to be Langadan.
I'm going to whack Journey with me in the prices. What are we going with?
Stormy Ireland.
Stormy Ireland can go in. There we go. So, sorry. Yeah, we'll get one more question for you. This guy's got loads of questions.
Are you a bit concerned about Brandy Love getting done from in front and behind?
Right. It's a question that we can't answer on this channel, unfortunately. So we appreciate the question.
You're forgetting she hangs left and right as well.
There we go. That's it for our Cheltenham Festival preview. Sorry, we got one more. Sorry.
Can I ask, does the panel think that Henderson and Nichols are going to beat Ireland this year? No one thinks that.
Basically, a question there was: do we think that essentially, we'll ask you shorter? England will beat Ireland in the Prestbury Cup, or Britain will beat Ireland.
England's only winner last year was with Biddick in the Fox Hunters, wasn't it?
Jack, any comment? Because I think Star Sports had a market for it, didn't they?
Yeah, they had a handicap of plus.
Star Sports had a handicap thing for the Prestbury Cup.
Yeah, Britain were plus 8.5 at 5 to 6, and Ireland were obviously minus 8.5 at 5 to 6. So if you want the handicap Prestbury Cup betting, that's the one. But I don't think Britain have any chance whatsoever. But I do think on the Tuesday we could potentially go 2-1 up with the Supreme Arkle and Ultima. So we always have the winner of the Ultima. So it'll be interesting there.
There we go. That'll be interesting. Right, that is going to be it for our preview. If you haven't already subscribed to the Next Generation YouTube channel, do so. Give the video a like, comment down below with your Napa the Festival, and we will be back with you after the festival for a preview of, probably a review of the festival and also a preview going into the 2023 festival of any horse that look good going forward. So, yeah, look, a massive thank you to Mattie Batchelor. Let's give him a round of applause. Still a bricklayer and a footballer. Niall Houlihan from the Gary Moore Stable. Big thanks to my right-hand man, Jack Dorlin.
And obviously a huge thanks to Sam, the host and the presenter of the channel as well.
And I just wanted to say a massive thank you. He's not here tonight, but sorting out all the cameras tonight was a gentleman called Dean Offord. He's at a gig playing tonight. We got Luke on the sound. Luke on the sound. He's done a great job tonight. Jack's mic went just towards the end of that preview. He ended up getting that back going. And a big thank you to Gary Young once again for giving us the venue this evening. Honestly, thank you so much. So that's it for our Cheltenham Festival preview. It was a great night down at Pagham Cricket Club. We really enjoyed it. We're going to have videos out to you guys of a split of this video, day 1 to 4. They'll be coming Tuesday to Friday next week. And then we're going to have our main selection video that will come out on Saturday. We'll give our main picks for the festival. And that's it. We're all done, Jack.
And can you believe it, Sam? It's 2 weeks until the Lincoln, baby. Come on.